Get off a few- If I get off a few of these boards, I'll live longer, maybe. One too many of this stuff.
Yeah, you don't have any Tuesday morning.
What do you mean? One last night, one this morning, one tomorrow morning.
What's tomorrow? Great. Thank you.
Equalization.
You signed them and you passed them back to
Oh, I
me?
signed this last one back. Here, that's right.
You need coffee?
No,
It's 8 o'clock on April 5th. We'll start the Steele County Commission meeting.
Everybody have their mics on.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Agenda additions
I got
and approval.
agenda addition. Got some. And we'll bring it up with Reed, some electrical easements, underneath some county roads, some boring.
Okay,
We received the clerk of court funding agreement in the mail yesterday, so if we could add that
Okay.
and sign and approve it.
Motion to accept the agenda with the additions.
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Then we'll now turn it over to Matt Roller, the Steele County Park Board Chairman.
we'll call a meeting and still County Park Board to order. Any agenda additions? Somebody make motion to approve. Agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Everybody had a chance to read through the minutes from the last meeting? Is there any corrections or additions there? Not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next is the Steele County Water Board meeting that we had with the Golden Lake project. We met with them on last Tuesday. There was what, 18 of us there, something like that. My opinion, we're kind of back to square one for what they proposed and everything else. It's, I don't know, they wanted to set up a system that would put aluminum pellets into the lake to help control the phosphates, but depending on the size of it, was anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million for that. Plus it was a $25,000 maintenance fee and chemical fee every year after that. So kind of just went, no, I don't think so. So now we're kind of back to square one.
All the water testing.
Yeah, they want to do another feasibility study, and that, they said it's probably gonna run $50,000, and we're just like,
All the water testing though, since there was no runoff last year, it wasn't very accurate.
yeah. So,
So any drainage
well, they said.
Concerns or-
The water testing they did last year, they said the water in Rush Lake is worse than the water in Gold Lake.
Okay.
So their recommendation was to keep the water from coming into the lake. But what do we do for water
That's-
levels and everything?
That's how it feeds.
So it's gonna be interesting. We decided to set up a, what do they call it, the Golden Lake Water Improvement Board. There's gonna be like one commissioner, one park board member, one Golden Lake Association member. There's a guy from Game and Fish there, he volunteered to be on it. This Lyndon P said he'd come up for these meetings, so. We're gonna start there. What it gains us, I don't know.
They want us to kind of draw up a complex, what we foresee in the future, what we want it to build to, or how far we want it to go.
I think part of the biggest problem right now, you go out there, you can't shut them gates down and the water's flowing into the lake pretty good. I don't know where the water's coming from, because Rush Lake, I drove up as far as I can get in there and it's frozen over solid yet. And out of Luther Bierke's, there's a little water coming down here, but there ain't much water coming down through that channel. There's still ice and snow in that channel, so I really don't know where all the water was coming from. But it's not very nice water coming in here. Ed pulled some samples and he took it up to Ag Bites. They said they can test water too, so we'll see what they come back as results. So we're gonna be looking for other options probably, or something else to try out there. You guys had anything else that you can think of that we talked about?
So we probably need more rain to help it out then to kind of neutralize it and stuff that way, or
I
They
guess
said it's not gonna fix itself.
that's not.
It'll probably get worse.
the one guy said
The phosphorus is why.
one solution was in the fall. Is if we were able to go up in Rush Lake and harvest all the cattails off, because all the nitrogen and phosphate, you know, the cattails pull that up and then they die, fall into the water, sink to the bottom and release the nitrogen and the phosphates again. But how are you gonna go up in there and harvest all them cattails out of Rush Lake? Like now, we were talking the other day, like now we should probably go out there and try and have a controlled burn of some kind, but if it gets away, it can burn for many miles. So. I think our biggest thing is to get some of the gates and stuff working so we can control the water coming in and going out a little bit. I think that's gonna be one of our, so I still say if you hold that water back till July, you're gonna, some of the phosphates and stuff are gonna fall out of the water. It's absorbed by the cattails and stuff. So,
Which that's part of our infrastructure too out there, and to our hazard mitigation guy, so you guys have got emails, you know that we have our hazard mitigation plan update coming out. They're gonna come out and meet with us in July at that community meeting and talk through some of the hazard mitigation stuff that we can do. So what that does is that opens up that pot of money from FEMA. So it opens up the hazard mitigation grants to help with the infrastructure. So the gate valves, the gates, the culverts, any of that stuff, that would help if we can prove damage and we can prove threat to property, life, that sort of stuff, which I have no doubt in my mind we can do. We can start to be able to apply for some of those grants, which would help solve that specific piece of it. But he'll be there in July.
yeah. We were planning a meeting in July with this new board that we set up. So.
What's the cost of the new gates and all that stuff and everything?
They never give us a number.
I think that's a good start.
I think,
Try to start
yeah. What did they say this stuff last year was that they did, what was that,
$105,000.
$105,000 worth, but the little bit they did last year, what they talked to us, but. Sound like most of it was paid for. There was, what they say, 10, 12,000 that wasn't, but the
Water board was.
water board, if I understood right, the water board is gonna pick it up, so it wasn't gonna cost the park board anything right now. So. But they wanted, like you said, they wanted to do another feasibility, and that one gal figured it'd be about $50,000, and we just said,
Is it a thing where you, if down the road, you kills all the fish and you can't swim in it, or what?
it could get that to that point.
So that could really affect property values and stuff like that down the road. Something's gotta be done.
The test should be back this week sometime.
And the guy up there, I told Ed, he said, one of the things to do is tell people around the lake to quit fertilizing their lawn. Well, it comes from that and everything else, and we're running off and stuff, but that'll never happen. So that's where we're on in that project. We'll know more when we have this meetings and stuff and see how it goes. So, guess we can move on. Parks and Rec grant, Emily.
So I submitted that grant to Parks and Rec for the shelters. I got a call back from them that it does not apply to county entities, just local park boards. So he did say that it does fit a grant coming up later this late summer, fall. And he could help transition it over to that if we're interested in doing that. If you guys want to wait that long or.
Some of the shelters need fixing up right now. Is Jake gonna make it here or not? Maybe I'll see what he says when he gets here a little bit too, but we should get a few of them shelters fixed up for.
Is there some we can do now without the cement and stuff? Just like repairing roofs or something like that, or?
We'd have to go on. Inspect it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Maybe.
without really looking over them, I'm not gonna say that.
I hate to put a lot of money into them, and the posts are rotten below and then,
Right.
because the posts are all in the cement.
Yeah.
What were we looking at there? What were we looking at spending?
Where it doesn't have an amount, really,
We just kind of, we didn't get,
see what we got back.
see what we got back.
Probably gonna be what, 3,500 to 4,000 of shelter, with cement and everything. That was having labor, and trying not even charging you labor on
More than that, wouldn't it?
For materials, it
Materials.
was around 6. Does that sound right?
shelter.
Plus the cement and labor. I think the total grant application was between 25 and 30, I think.
That's for 3 shelters.
Right. So that would put us at a cost of 50% of that, so. Do you think that, I mean, chances are some of the other ones could use a little improvement later down the road too? Maybe at the end of this year,
They're all probably 40 years old.
so maybe, do you want to stick with the grant and then you can do work on the immediate needs for the ones that are not usable right now? Or,
Probably should do an inspection out there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
probably could look at first and then decide.
okay,
How many do we have? Do we have a count on that? 10 of them?
at least 10.
With the pavilion side, is it 10 of
There's
them?
2 over there.
Two are there, yeah. Probably is 10, then probably it's 8 on the northwest. We eliminated, we redid the campground, we eliminated what, 3? There was 3 back
Yeah.
there.
4, you know.
Yeah, we should have an inspection one day here, just dries up a little bit, warms up, and we'll go out there and see what really needs to be done. Make a list, yeah. All right, we'll do that. I'll
Okay.
give you a call or
Call me.
something. Yeah, one evening when we get here. Okay. What about storm shelters? Is there anything word on that?
Maybe Ben's got an update on that.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, so for the storm shelters, I talked to Forterra out of Anoka. They're the ones that are gonna be doing the concrete for us. They have us on the schedule for this fall. It was the earliest I could get them on the schedule for. So they said fall or spring. I said fall because I don't want you tearing up all my crap when you come in. So October is when they're thinking. They'll get more specific once we get closer, but right now it's scheduled for October, start everything, and then winter holds out, they'll finish it. If winter doesn't, they'll come back in the spring and finish whatever they need to finish. For their end, it's just gonna be bringing the big structure in, and we're in charge of pretty much the rest of it.
Yeah, they just
So
deliver
they
it.
just deliver it. So,
So we got a site prep and get level and everything like that.
yeah,
Do they set it for us then, or do we have?
we have to.
You'll have to
set
have
it.
some-
Yeah.
Something set it.
Part of the grant is all of the electrical, all the crane, all of the caulking that goes with it, all that stuff is all included in part of that grant. They just make it, deliver it. So I'll work with Matt and we'll get, once we get the project sheet, we'll get this specifics and all that stuff signed off on.
Does that have to be on like a gravel base then, that we set it on?
Yeah, whatever you guys wanna have.
Even if you dig it in a hole, we can't hit it.
I don't know, because then you'll be too old.
I suppose it's gonna be, yeah.
I think you should maybe dig it out 1 to 18 inches and then put gravel back in,
So, no,
compact it. So it doesn't settle.
So we're on their agenda is the point that I was making. Well, once we get closer, we'll start more of the discussion on how that's gonna work. I'll work with Matt.
Do you have the sizes and everything?
I have the drawings at one point. I gotta go find them again.
You find
I'll send
them?
them.
You know,
But those are the ones that he did. They're not ours. They're the ones that he did for another place.
but if we can get the dimensions of them,
Yeah.
we can figure out what we have to.
I'll find them. I'll send them to you.
did we still want to look for that money through the gaming or not? Extra money out there for this?
That was my plan, was to still.
So, okay,
So last month, after this meeting last month, Matt and I talked real quick. He just said, move forward on the storm shelters, get them going. So that's why I called for care and got it working. And yeah, my plan is to still,
Okay.
Matt asked me to throw some request into the gaming fund to see if they'll help facilitate some of that.
So that's 75-25
85-15.
or 85-15 then.
Grant is 85-15.
So our share was probably 25.
Yeah, a little over 25. We can do in kind with that. So if all of you, if anybody's out there helping doing stuff, whatever, I can count all of you for in kind work. So that'll lower that total cost. So it's just the amount that we're on hook for at the end. But we can, talking to Beckman, talking to Matt, we could probably get that lower pretty quick.
Suppose we'll have to make sure we got a place for electrical and stuff like that too, to come from a junction box or something to that point or whatever too, you know.
When I got the quotes for the electrical, I talked to Nick, Brendan Mule down in Hope, and he gave me all the quotes for all the electric stuff. So my plan is to reach back out and
Mhm.
make sure we're all set. But once I get our dimensions, we get our project stuff signed off on, like I said, I'll work with Matt, get that stuff signed off on. And then we'll have further conversations with Richard and how it's all gonna work. Everybody else.
Maybe when we go to the Improvement Association on that stuff, Ben, maybe we should have those pictures that had the stuff painted on the sides and everything else to show the improvement board
Yeah.
of what's gonna be there and stuff. That'll help us
Yeah.
gain some more power.
For sure. That's all I have as far as others.
okay, well, thanks, Ben. I guess what we got left is Jake. Like to hear
You said 820.
that, 820. Anything else they want to discuss?
We're gonna try to find a different carpenter now.
Yeah, we gotta get that, we're on the bottom of that. Done up, maybe Jake's here, maybe he's got some more information on it. We have to get that done, get that sealed up around, and get that door frame in the back there fixed and everything too. Other than that, I think he's been doing all right on the weekends out there. Seems like there's people that show up, so. Yeah. Anybody has anything else?
The grass seam down, they're pretty good on the south side there.
Grass?
Yeah.
I think it looks like they were working on it last year, kept it.
Mm.
I think it needs some dirt moved in a few spots that, have settled, but Jake was gonna get some of that and do some of that, but other than that, it seemed like it's coming pretty good. I don't know if anybody's seen the curling that he did out there, well, he set the curling up on the ice and everything, it looked pretty official, but a lot of people showed up for that. I think he did pretty well that weekend. So,
Minor one accident.
minor one accident, yeah.
I text them again.
And it was, oh, has everything, but I know the cooler was giving them problems again, but when it was so cold. Cooler actually froze up on us, so like 28 degrees, so it freezes the lettuce and all that kind of stuff, yeah, in the cooler. But the guy told him that's, you know, when it's an outside unit like that and it gets that cold and it's not protected, it might, so might have to look at enclosing that back on that backside. So you can open it up during the summer and close it up during the winter.
Mhm.
Other than that, stuff's good. I think he bought a new charter oil, didn't
I'm not sure. I didn't hear.
he? He mentioned it, but I don't know if he ever did, we'll get it.
We have a contract with him every year. We have a,
Something we have to sign a new lease agreement.
We did a extended 5-year with him last time. And I'll just keep renewing unless somebody backs out of it.
Water and stuff that goes through the winter, then is what this is, Emily, or what?
Correct.
Oh,
And then
campers, some of
April,
the Campers.
yep, April 1st, he has his agreement.
Yep.
Payment due along with the deposits from the campers. So it kicked up his balance pretty quick with us.
Yeah, yeah, did.
But he's been pretty good. I mean, I just send him the total, he'll bring in a check. I've had no problems with it.
I know he said. Friday when I talked to him, he said his biggest problem right now is finding people to work. Nobody wants to work.
that's all over.
He's not alone in that one.
You know.
Is that just cooks or is it,
The cooks aren't so bad. It's to find a few waitresses, and he's got a couple and all that aren't gonna come back. He said he's got a lot of younger ones that wanna work, but you know, they can't serve
We got
anything, you know, any drinks or anything like that.
Oh,
So struggling to find older ones is what it is to help out.
I suppose the younger ones can't serve alcohol.
Great. So
I thought they could do that, but they couldn't open it or something like that.
they can't do any mixed drinks. They
Mixed
might be
drinks,
able to
yeah.
do- But I don't know about a beer if they can or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
Because he's
that's
got
what
a
it
lot of
is.
15 and 16-year-olds that have applied or want to work and help waitresses try to make some money, but needs to find a few older ones. Like you said, that's everywhere you go, there, everybody's looking for workers.
You get Grand Forks and Fargo and every business sign says help wanted on it.
Even in town here.
Yeah. Well, Jake.
He's
not locked out.
He's probably locked up.
Well, I texted him. He would, I mean, if he's locked, he would text or do this.
Well, you can get in that.
front door's open.
Front door's not open.
It wasn't till 8.
Oh,
It opens at 8, sorry. And we
You
should
couldn't
maybe
get
just
in?
get you a badge.
yeah. I'm thinking I'm not that important, but I mean.
Is-
Why don't, oh, you guys see Ben for a badge.
Is Paul not on the park board anymore?
He is.
Is he?
He actually
He
came to the meeting
He
last
came
week.
in, I forgot to text him last night, so I suppose he didn't even read his email.
Well, they're leaving for Arizona today
Oh,
too,
he-
so I don't know if they're
He
here. or
probably
not.
gone already.
Yeah, I thought it was this afternoon they were leaving.
He told me to leave pretty early. I told him on Saturday.
Oh, maybe they are then.
You going down?
No.
Well, I don't know what to say.
Don't see some.
What's that?
I've seen some brake lights.
Just maybe got here yet with him again. Yeah, there's a little girl up the lake store helping him the other day. Oh, did she?
On those coolers and freezers and stuff, was it their recommendations that we enclose that in the winter and open it in the summer?
Yeah, that's what the guy was recommending, so we're gonna have to probably do something.
So do we have to have a
Oh, boy, you got two of them.
full shelter then, enclosed or what?
What's that? Russell?
Oh, do we need it fully enclosed or just kind of like a I don't know what you call it, around there, you know,
Yeah, it's something.
like lattice or something like that, or do we need more than that?
I think we can just box it in, you know, like wood or whatever, but then be able to open the panels up during the summer so it can get, you know, grease over it.
This is kind of the projects, I guess, I put on a list for the kind of top priority of everything.
Matt, you want to move that mic over toward Jake?
Makeup air in the kitchen is the kind of most important thing right now, so we cooks, we can keep them around, because last summer it was, I know it was, there was a 3-week stretch where it was over 105 in the kitchen for 3 weeks, and we're losing customers because of that. And well, it's just not safe either. And then this winter,
It's freezing.
it freezes everybody out, the cooks are wearing hats and jackets, because whatever the outside air temp is, that's blowing on them, cools off the food. I mean, it's, so that would be, I think, my first priority. And then on there, after that is getting the foundation fixed, because water now is starting to go into the basement. It's under the plate, or where the old patio, or excuse me, ramp was attached, that's all rotten. So now it's just starting to kind of go everywhere. And then just getting the ground around the building sloped away, so it's, I don't know what the best way about it is, if it's put the fabric down and then rock, or if it build up so the crown's away from it. But all the water now is from the road, comes down, hits, it pulls up in front of the kind of the ramp going into the building, and then it runs along the building now to the south, and then down to the lake.
Some of
Those two.
that we should make this concrete, some of that, slope it away nice, so it runs out like that.
Yeah, because there's that 20 by 8 section that it's just dirt and garbage gets there, so.
Which part was cement just to get to seal up along the building though, because. You know, the water
Well,
starts
you
coming in.
can slope it up far enough. Maybe when we're out there doing our inspection, we should go there and take a picture.
Well, they know it's got the next that grant for the shelter, so we're gonna come out and inspect and see what they want to do. Emily was saying that there is a grant later this fall, but they don't be able to do nothing with the shelters until you wait for that, so.
And I guess the shelters, I mean, they are a priority. The one we need to take down just before somebody gets hurt on it, it's kind of head height where Angie Grump's camper is there. Yeah, it just, it's in a hole where it's sunk and cement's cracked, and the east side of it's probably eye level, I guess, is the biggest thing. So that'd be the biggest thing, just to get that tore down out of there. And then when it comes to fall, I guess, or midsummer, then we can kind of see what, maybe where the best place to put everything is too, rather than tear it down and then just put it back in the same spots. I'm not gonna put any more people in the campground, so it'd be nice just to, I think we have 14 total and it's busiest. That'd be with the 5 that are, you know, open for weekends and weekdays and stuff like that, where campers are just getting huge, so. And they seem pretty happy when they have a little more space. There's no fighting, no issues or anything like that. So,
How many shelters are out there?
I think there's 8 total,
2 on the other side.
2 on the other side, yeah.
In in the kitchen here, what can you guys do?
I talked to Brandon from Precision, and that was last year. He gave me a quote on putting a splitter in the kitchen. And I know that definitely helped. He had that was like $4,000 for the unit. I'm sure with labor was another, now 2,000 at least.
That one that's split units, so you use, would it have a heat pump in it, so in the winter time you can go heat with
You
it?
could go heat. I guess the one thing is that would work, but it's not really fixing what the actual issue is, because we should have makeup air, cold air coming in, blowing down, and that pushes that's how the vent works, I guess, from what I'm told, I guess.
Well, can you get some quotes on it?
Yeah. Because I talked to Curtis too. I didn't put it on there, but I couldn't get partitions in time, so he measured them up with a rep. So the women's bathroom, hopefully they get partitions in the bathroom.
So let them get the partitions.
No, so Curtis called, it sounded like 6 to 8 weeks for him, and that would have been, I talked to him last, would have been in February when he came up with whoever is, I don't know, the rep he uses.
So the venting system is not working properly still.
Yeah, when it was installed, it should have had a cooling system added to it, because it has the heat system, propane hooked up to it. But that's what it should have, is a cooling system. So it's cooling the air coming in with it, rather than us sucking.
Warm air,
The
whatever.
emergency system doesn't work in it either, like it's that cold. You know, Josh just helped me a little bit on Saturday there or whatever. He said it was, couldn't believe how cold it was back there.
The control panel in it is the biggest issue. It's a Honeywell thing, so I don't think it's maybe too hard to find, but it hasn't ran in 30 years. Yeah, I think that was actually. Everybody I've talked to is kind of like, you can do this, you can do that, but there's no guarantee it's gonna make things better, or it could be just kind of putting a really expensive Band-Aid on it and then it doesn't work properly, so.
Well, when that was constructed years ago, it wasn't made for a winter time.
Yeah. And
Well, not only that, is when Harold did all that, he got a whole bunch of used stuff out of Minot to put in there.
okay.
So it
He
was,
said the hood company doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
They like-
it was used in 2000
Okay.
when we built the place, or 2001, whenever it was.
It's like the hood inside, actually, that hasn't changed anything really. It's just more
The guts.
components and everything.
Maybe something down the road too that will need replacing.
Yeah,
That won't be a cheap one.
nothing. Everything I've checked on, it was expensive before, but now it's just, everything's so crazy expensive for it. My freezer I bought 3 years ago was worth like $3,000 more than it was brand new, so.
Cooler been working now?
Cooler and fridge have been working. Now that the temp is back to normal temps, they basically said that it's 30 below for that long. It's tough, it doesn't regulate, it doesn't have its own heater. So they said you could run a space heater in it, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's brand new. They said they don't want it totally enclosed in the summer, so, but to block the wind from it and everything. I think when we get to fall, we need to close it up, just because this winter was crazy anyway with the snow, but if I didn't go out there every day and shovel snow off of it, it's gonna get plugged up and froze up, and then it actually wouldn't kick on because snow blew into it and then it freezes, so then it turns, well, it's a frozen motor, so it's not gonna, if it does turn over, it's not gonna be good, I guess, so.
Would we get better off to check on some, I mean, I know they make these tarps that come down
Just keep fast.
and then put them down in the summer or in the winter time.
In the time.
I'm sure we can get some nice tarps built that,
Um,
it's got, I mean, how else you gonna,
Yeah, well, you'd have to make it like a screened enclosure on, the inside the 4x4s and then put the wood on the outside, that's closed up, so you take that wood off, and
basically have like a lattice system where you
Right.
could
pull it off too.
screw it in the summer and take it out in the winter.
The only thing about tarps is the guy gets it fast and decent. so-
well, I mean, a good commercial tarps, not a cheap shit.
The blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, that now it works fine. It's just more or less getting it done this fall. As soon as we can.
It'd be nice to have something to go out there during the summer, because I mean, it can blow in, with all the cotton fuzz that goes, that's gonna get in the oils and stuff back there too, and have a little protection, keep some of that stuff on.
And the birds up there.
Birds, yeah.
Because that's, we figured out why I thought it was components not running right. Guys installed it. They did a great job, except for it's silicone where they bolted through the plate on top, so we lost all the food in the fridge, and then it melted because it ran down and not all the food because it didn't the bolts. So did that in the freezer, so we could find something that takes 5 minutes to fix and just do it. Otherwise, they have prophecy.
That list is what's.
Yeah, that's-
Everything else.
So we're gonna start
Well,
looking
I
at,
think,
looking
I
at
think we
a mini
should.
split.
just so everybody can have an idea of what's.
And now you can, I believe you can run a couple units off of one
Yeah.
station. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know as we were talking, it gets really hot inside the store too.
Yes, yeah, because that,
And the problem is, like you were telling me, is that system in there should heat and cool that place like no other.
yeah,
But-
from what we got, it's, that was the other thing on the list is Ver West had noticed that the kitchen AC unit, the breaker is too small from what it was recommended. So that is causing it to kick out.
Like you said, if it kicks out, then it's just playing catch up.
Mark had mentioned, he's like, just let me know when he can, I'm sure that will be.
Is it where, what a big break?
He said it can have a, it wouldn't be too bad of a switch out. He'll just have to kind of, I think, start moving things around. But I'm sure that's.
I think we maybe look into that first.
Well, I think we should get bids for both.
Yes, if you wanted to look at the hood system, I got a feeling that's gonna be.
Get the bids for
wonderfully-
everything and
Then we can look at it.
And stuff.
figure out what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that breaker for the kitchen there, I think that should be replaced.
Is that
Better to do it now than later on when you're busy or something. And then you,
summer, that capacitor, like, it's like snow can happen. and You have to shut it off and let it cool down, and then by that time, the building,
That's hot.
it never catches up.
Yeah,
So
right.
That was for the main building,
That's for just the kitchen.
or just the kitchen?
Yeah, so like Curtis had said, for the 3 AC units, it should keep the building at 60 degrees. It should be an issue for what it's pulling and stuff, so
That stuff's probably getting to be,
it's,
20 years old.
It was old, it was old.
it's, all the stuff is kind of,
Curtis, or the- yeah.
Okay, anything else?
not that,
I see on here, Jake, you got parking lot safety lighting. What's that about?
Wayne had mentioned we need some sort of lighting. in the Parking lot. Coming down the steps and everything with the restaurant. So I can get Verwest to just put some lights in.
Motion light or something going on
Yeah,
there.
it's more for the steps and the ramp at night, so. He said just for better for security to have light, not pointing at the campers, but more. Stuff like that.
What you do, lock it in your room?
So we want Reed to go, we want Reed to go out and remove that shelter then.
Yeah, if you can do that and stuff, and there's a couple signs that just, you know, pretty much stays there.
Okay.
Put back up and
Okay.
straighten out a little bit, so I
Okay.
figure I can.
Yep. We're gonna get, maybe you call too, but. Call Ed and we'll look at rest and shelters to see what we really need to get done and see what needs to be done exactly.
Because there's like one that has no tenants, I suppose it's 6, 7 years old. The rest are all kind of same. They use them, but now the campers are getting so big that they,
Most of them got their own islands.
they got their own. But they're not, they really do like them for windy days. They put tarps up on them, block the wind, so you can. But I do feel like if we can get one of these shelter grants, that maybe we could put something closer to the water, like, so it's more for the public too. You know, be nice to be able to come down and sit on the beach and get out of the sun. More of a community thing, public.
We can start working on, getting some
Estimates.
estimates on some of this stuff.
Anybody know of any other contractors around that don't have any work lined up?
The ones I've talked to, the two I know, we're so busy right now, they don't know what they're gonna do. They just can't get workers, and they're just swamped, just.
I know for some of the projects, I can find some younger kids to help do general labor stuff. It'll just be like digging out along the foundation where it started on, that's the first one, the power's coming to the phone lines, the internet, everything. So. Maybe excavators, that best way to dig that out, is a shovel.
I want to come out and
Look at it.
we'll take a look at that. Or something.
I'll let you guys want to do that. Friday night, yeah, sure, so.
Friday. Hopefully there's evidence.
See what the water's like the next couple days.
All right.
I can check in Grand Forks too, but it's kind of like the same thing. Everybody's just crazy busy.
Everybody's meeting together because they can't find help too, so.
All right, well. Where we're at, we'll get some more going, we'll get together.
Thank you guys. Sorry.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Adjourn.
So move.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All same sign. Sure. Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Thank you guys.
We'll reconvene the Steele County Commission meeting at 8:41. And we'll go back to miscellaneous department updates, handouts, auditor. Approve the polling location.
For the upcoming primary election, we do need permission to approve the polling location and hours. Steele County Courthouse, 3rd floor. We had looked at doing the auditorium, but with Finley Days being that weekend before, it didn't seem like a good idea, because I'm sure it's being used. No one's using it for Finley Days.
What for?
There was always bake sales, rummage sale thing up there. Oh. Because all the equipment has to be set up, locked, and left there for approximately a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so that's why we thought with Finley Days, it's best to maybe just leave it here again. So
Do we need a motion?
we do.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion on the floor. All those in favor of leaving the election here at the courthouse? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approve the election inspector.
Election inspector is Carly Itzel again.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I wanted to update you, it's in the pile of the handouts, I believe too, but the P card rebate came back. Actually, it's right here, I apologize. We are third in the state for the rebate amount. We received back for our first year, $5,690 for using the P card. So that is pretty awesome, I think, to be third in the state. So I thought you guys would be interested in seeing that. The next up, Finley 125th celebration. We have kicked around the idea with some of the employees to see if you guys would approve doing something up here at the courthouse. Again, on the front lawn, as we've done in the past. We were thinking taco in a bag and some games on the front lawn for the 125th. We will look at getting donations, but we may need a budget for that. Wayne was working on that with us also.
What's the dates on that?
The dates of that for Finley Days, we are planning for the 9th in the afternoon, like 11 to 2-ish ballpark. Finley Days is the 9th through the 12th.
How much budget?
Keep it under 1,000.
That we did last year? Or
I'd have to look. It was several years ago. We did the barbecues, the chips, dessert, all that on the lawn over here.
Is there a list of activities out now for the celebration and what's going on?
I don't think it's out yet, but the flyers are going out, being
They're
made, printed.
finalizing the events.
So it would work in that time frame
Yes. There's nothing else during that time frame.
on Thursday. Right?
Carly has talked to Lori about it, and Wayne, is he on the board or at the meetings also?
He was talking like doing a movie night maybe or something like that too here. Did we do that one year?
We did do that one year.
I don't know if it was settled in or not, but that was one suggestion. Yeah, I don't see a poster out yet, so I would say it would be any day now before they get everything set.
We're still having the golf tournament and stuff on Friday and
Yeah.
bands Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, there's one band on Friday night and two bands on Saturday night, one in the evening and one at night. All free, nothing's being charged.
and one of the after. What time is this? Check it weekend.
Thoughts? In support? Not in support?
Well, I think if you employees up here are willing to do it, I guess you can go ahead with that.
see what you can get for donations as well and go from there.
Okay,
I suppose it's kind of hard to predict how many people will be here, but
we were gonna plan for around 200
you wanna,
was the thought. We were gonna try to talk to Jake to order the stuff through food service.
go from there. Well, I'm sure we can help you out some way or another. So. Anything else on Finley's 125th?
Nope, I don't.
Okay. Township road certification.
Here's the township road certification. We approve this, review it, approve it, and send it in to the state every other year. So we just need a motion to approve that, and I'll submit it. That's based off of how their state funding is based off the township road mileage certifications. I don't believe there's been any official road closures to change that.
Did
In the
any of
past 2
them
years.
change, Emily? They did,
I'm not aware of any changes in the past 2 years.
pretty much
So-
the same.
That 806 is the total.
Correct.
You're talking township roads?
Correct. Township road mileage certification.
So when we close the bridge. Township road, is it closed road or it's still open? It still count? You know, like by Jason S's.
Yeah. Probably would, but that's township.
I guess they could drive down to it.
Yeah, it depends on where
I
they're,
mean, maybe.
where they're locked off at.
But eventually that'll be taken care of this year.
Close all that. Jason's.
We're replacing that one?
No, not that one.
Not that
You're
one.
thinking of one west of Tobias.
Oh, yeah.
So is the road still maintained? I mean, there's, let's say, probably a process to close a road.
Yeah,
So,
they would have to do that in their township.
correct.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Got a motion to approve the township road certification.
I'll second.
Got a second on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Tax director. Kim is coming today.
Yes.
Morning.
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 You got the floor.
Okay, so, I did the sales ratio for the county. And it was due the end of March. What I've come up with for residential property, was 92.4%. And then with commercial was 99%. That's just based off of sales in the county.
You say it one more time.
Residential 92.4. And that is using 3 years worth of sales,
Commercial road.
99. Seems to sit high all the time with the sales. I am gonna propose to increase ag land 1% this year across the board. We didn't increase it at all last year. Last year, the county average was $1,031.50. With the 1% increase, it would go up to $1,041.87. And then that county new average divided by the NDSU average, which is $1,050.39, would bring our ratio to 99%, which is probably the highest it's ever been in the county
For Eggland,
for eggland. Yep.
what's it currently at?
The ratio?
Yeah.
It was at 98 right now, without any changes. It is 98.7. Any thoughts on that?
What's the tolerance level? Where we supposed to be at?
About 90.
I think it's plenty high. I don't think we should raise it.
Yep.
Don't raise it.
Just my opinion.
Okay. Anybody else's thoughts on it?
So what are the effects of? Why are we wanting to raise it?
Just to, I mean, get the tolerance level high, because we're not really sure what next year NDSU may completely raise our value to, let's say, 1,200, and then our ratio is going to be really low. But more so just to stay on that higher side of it, so we don't have to do a large increase down the road. And we didn't increase last year either.
I thought we increased a lot. Did
Mhm.
we
We left.
increase it the year before?
Mhm. We increased it the year before 3%. So in 2020, we did 3%. Just the state lowered our average ratio down. That's why it's so high now. Not the state, NDSU did, I should say. But they lowered the entire state across the board.
And the probability of the ag values is probably gonna be high as well.
I'm
Land-
surprised it went
land is
down with how
selling.
much it's selling for right now.
Well, it's very cyclical. So.
I know Trail County did go up 1%. They're sitting at either 99 or 100 right now. They can
We're at
tell.
98 right now.
Yep, right now we're at 98. So if you want to think about that, that decision doesn't need to be made right now, but you can decide even next month. Just kind of want to put that in your ear.
That'd probably
Just
be
think about
good to
that.
think about for a while.
Residential properties, we're sitting with the sales ratio at 92.4%. Vanguard, when we did the sales ratio in January, it brought, set our ratio is down to 76%, which everybody across the state has been either the high 70s or 80s with Vanguard system. They do their percentage, how they figure it out is different than how the state does it. So I did do the increase in January. I thought that was too high. That was the 8% that Vanguard thought we should have done then. I did go across in March again with Ryan to see if we could lower it some. And then so we lowered it. It lowered most of the properties percentage from the original increase between 0.2 and I think it was 4% was the highest. It decreased it down. So the overall new increase amount in the county would be 11,122,000. That's including like the commercial property, the 4 million with the elevator here in town. So that amount is included in that 11 million. The major reason for increasing property this year is land value has been based really low compared to what our sales are. And then, so the major increase across the board was for land. And then, I'm not really sure why it was done this way, but there's 10 townships that were getting a 30% reduction and 10 that were getting 25%. And I'm not really sure why that was made that way a few years back when Vanguard did it, but I did bring the ones that were getting 30% reduction up to 25. So that did increase those properties as well by 5%. So that was another major increase across the board. Especially if we want everybody to be equal, it should be that way, in my opinion. Ryan wasn't quite positive either. He agreed that it should have been all 25% across the board.
Computer error, I mean, something that we messed up entering.
Mm-mm. Have to ask Ben if he knows why, but they were getting the 30%. So Franklin, Finley, Anger, Primrose, Easton, Greenview, Edendale, Broadlawn, and Colgate were the ones that were getting 25%. Sharon, Westfield, Beaver Creek, Newburgh, Sherbrooke, Riverside, Melrose, Hugo, Willow Lake, and Carpenter were getting 30%. So those were the townships that got raised to 5%. And then I'm also, or I should say, any questions on the residential properties? Anybody receive any phone calls?
Nope.
Yeah.
I've had a few people call just wanting explanation of it, but nobody's been super upset about it, but sales are crazy in our county right now compared to what places are valued at. Commercial properties, since we are sitting at 99% with sales, I am recommending no increase across the board on any of those properties either.
We just have one other elevator in county.
The one in Hope that is was just added on to, or kind of think they remodeled it or built some new stuff, but that is getting an exemption.
There is, okay.
5-year exemption on that. Starting this year. Equalization meetings are set for this month. I just had City of Finley's last night. Everything went good there. Wednesday, I have all the north half of the county here all day at the courthouse in the basement. Friday, I have the southern half of the county down in Hope. And then I have one Monday and Tuesday for the city of Finley, not Finley, Hope and Sharon.
Okay,
Any questions for me?
What you let us know what you find out from Ben about.
The difference in the map area? Then I can send you guys the spreadsheet I made with the difference in from last year to this year with the values if you'd like.
yeah.
Yep.
I'd reach out to Ben on that too.
Yeah, I'm going to, but Ryan wasn't quite sure why it was made that way either.
Mhm.
A few years back.
Okay,
That is all that I have.
all right, okay,
Okay, thanks.
thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Next I see is Legacy Valley. Morning, Kim.
Good morning.
It's all yours.
Thank you. Happy April.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm here today to provide some updates about human services and some of the activities that have been going on within the division over the last few months. It's been a busy time as things continue. You may recall when I was here in 2021, I provided you some quarterly board update statistics. So this is the start of our 2022 report, and I'll kind of walk you through some of the highlights of the report. With the very first page, it gives a snapshot of our children and family services team. So this represents March numbers. So currently the zone has 24 children in foster care. And so with that being said, we have 13 that are placed in relative placements. 3 of them are located in zone foster home placements. And then 8 are in a therapeutic foster home, which is a little bit higher level of care to help meet specialized needs of children. And we have 0 children that are placed either out of state or in a facility receiving even a higher level of care. So all of our children are currently in community-based settings in an appropriate placement. And we have 5 youth that are currently in a trial home visit. And a trial home visit is when a child is, when the family is stabilized and we're still involved, but the children are gradually transitioning back to their parental home to see if we can successfully reunite them back with their family. And so that's a positive step as well. In the last month, we've completed 16 child protection assessments. And so those assessments are reports of child abuse and neglect that are suspected that we receive, that we have a team that will assess them to determine if those allegations are founded and if intervention is required. We have 3 families that are involved in family-centered engagement. Family-centered engagement is an early kind of intervention type program where we work with an outside consultant to help the family build upon their immediate strengths, and if they can do things to help lower the risk of harm to the children in their home, and to see if the family can come together and preserve the family structure. And so that kind of gives a highlight of that. We did have a kind of a large number of children that enter care over winter and spring months. And our caseworkers are busy working with them. We do regular visitation between the family and the child when the child is in foster care. And that is actually something that, the number of children in foster care that originate from Steele County have increased over the last few months as well. So you will likely see our staff more frequently in the building performing face-to-face visits. They're using the visitation or the office downstairs for different opportunities to meet with families. So you're likely seeing a larger array of our staff in the building. Some good news is that we continue to have our cases be audited by a fidelity team, and Agassiz Valley continues to perform very well in our audits. Actually, they're taking one of our current cases and they're using it to help train other zones across the state. So we've been recognized for the quality of work, the quality of documentation by the state office as well. So that's a positive attribute to the team. We are continuing to assist other zones at times. Cass County has had a large number of turnover in their child welfare unit. And so part of our work as one concept is that if we have some capacity, we help other zones if needed. So Brooke Duvall has been helping Cass with a few assessments to help them assess immediate need. Her focus has been on seeing children to make sure they're safe, and due to their large amounts of turnover, to do those safety checks. And we also had an opportunity for some training last week. There was a family-based conference. So many times our trainings are in Bismarck, and we had the opportunity to engage in training in Fargo this last week, which was greatly appreciated, and not have to run down the interstate quite so far in order to get training. So we had several staff that were able to participate in that. And we've also had an intern over the winter semester. So she is from Moorhead State, a social work intern. And so that's been a good opportunity for the agency as well. A little bit about our economic assistance team. It kind of gives you the breakdown of cases. Our SNAP program is our food assistance program. And so this is the number of households. So this doesn't reflect individuals, these numbers. So we have 241 households that are receiving SNAP throughout Agassiz Valley. Medical assistance, we have 655. Fuel assistance is 352. Our fuel assistance program runs from October through May 31st. So we're still taking applications for this current heating season, and we always get some at the end of the season. One of the aspects of the Lockheed program is that it actually goes retrospective. So if you apply even in April, the benefit goes back to October. And so we always do get a few last minute applications at the end of the season. TANF, we don't have any cases in TANF right now. That is not unusual for our community. TANF is temporary assistance for needy families. It's our only cash assistance program. And it's by far the most regulated and difficult to qualify program that we have, and has the most red tape in order for individuals to remain eligible. And it's time limited as well. And so TANF numbers across the state are very few. And so it's not unusual for Agassiz Valley to have 0 or maybe 1 case at any point. With our child care assistance program, we have 49 households that are receiving child care assistance. We've had 2 general assistance burials to help dispose of the remains of indigent individuals who passed away throughout the period. Kinship is a program that helps with relative caregivers who are taking care of children who are in foster care. So we have 2 of those, and we've issued 9 new EBT cards this month, meaning that those are new eligibles for the food assistance program. And so just a few highlights about that program. We've already touched on Lockheed. One thing about our economic assistance programs, starting at the end of 2022 or early 2023, the state of North Dakota is going through a redesign process, seems to be our favorite term, regarding economic assistance programs. And we're going to be moving to a regional model. And so we'll be working with zones around us in order to meet the needs of our citizens and just to be efficient. This will allow for specialization and more efficient work. We will be in a region that will go as, it will include Agassiz Valley. It will include the counties of like Nelson Griggs, Eddie Foster Wells, will go all the way up to Rolette County, all the way over to Pembina and back down to Trail. So it will be that kind of northeast quarter of the state. So there'll be 4 sections. And the sections will all work together as well, but our primary base will be in there. This will provide us some good opportunity, some opportunity for growth. We'll have 2 Native American reservations in the area that we will serve, but it will also provide opportunity to, when hiring, that we can locate individuals wherever the best talent is, wherever opportunity is. My hope would be that we can possibly expand the number of eligibility workers that will come out of Agassiz Valley's area with time as we work as a region. But we have found across the state, the vast majority of our clientele now communicate with us electronically, do online applications. There's very little walk-in traffic across most zones. As you know, I have been involved with Cass County. Their parking lot was full, their waiting room was full. Now, if you come through, you rarely see anyone in the waiting room. The parking lot is empty. There has just been a lot of change since the pandemic, and more people have access to electronic means, and that's just being seen across the state. We did implement a new general assistance burial policy as well since the time I was last year, and that is a state policy. So it's consistent. So an individual who's applying for burial would be treated the same in Agassiz Valley as they would as in Cass, as they would in Ward County or Burley or anywhere else in the state. The last part of that to become standardized is there will be a standardized rate that is paid to funeral homes for those burials too. That's under negotiation with the Department of Human Services and the Funeral Directors Association. So we look for that most likely later this year. And that will be a positive move. There's a lot of variance in indigent burial rates. And just in the past, how that rate has been negotiated, it's been negotiated by the county commissioners and the funeral directors. So if looking back, I don't know when the last time Steele County has met with your local funeral director to negotiate an indigent burial rate, but I'm guessing it's been a few years. So, speaking to that, your rate is a little low compared to others. And so this will give opportunity to increase that rate since the funds now are coming from state sources. So, and you won't have to negotiate that rate. So it will save you that additional work. So the other kind of big event with the Economic Assistance Division is with the governor releasing the emergency status related to the pandemic. We'll begin to roll back some of the changes that happened with economic assistance programs that were in response to the national and state pandemic. And so that will require us to touch a lot of cases more frequently than what we have, because some of the benefits were frozen in place, especially regarding medical, because we didn't want individuals going without healthcare during the national healthcare pandemic. And so that will mean very busy activities. The productivity of the Agassiz Valley Economic Assistance Team continues to be very high. We consistently end up as number 1 or number 2 in the state for the most cases per worker. So they're being very productive with their time. In addition, we have regular reviews and audits with them, and they continue to have very low, if no, error rates. And so they're performing very well. Let's see what else we have. The next report, look at the one that says state home and community-based services. Our services to the elderly and disabled come from a couple different sources and how we serve our zone. In the past, we had a home and community-based case manager, a social work case manager that would meet with individuals to see if they were eligible for state and federal programs. That individual is now a state employee. Her name is the individual that serves our area. Her name is Jessica Nelson. She used to be a Agassiz Valley employee, but when we moved to zones, all of those positions moved to state employment, but Jessica still serves our area. So I did ask her for the numbers that we're serving. So we currently have 5 Steele County residents that are receiving the state funded or federal funded programs. We have 18 in Trail County for a total of 23. So the unique thing about these services is that these services can be provided by a variety of providers. So it doesn't have to be an Agassiz Valley team member that's going in. It can be an approved relative caregiver that's reimbursed by the state to provide for their loved one. It could be another specialty provider that might be coming in to provide the service. So these services can be provided by a variety, and but there still are citizens receiving these services. And if you turn the page, you'll see what the Agassiz Valley Direct Care Team, we provide. We can be a caregiver for those state and federal programs, or we can be a caregiver based on our own zone administered programs. So with that, we have 76 individuals that are being served out of our Hillsborough office. We have 9 individuals that are being served out of Findlay. And then we're doing care coordination for 43 in Cass. So that means that we have the supervisor, Tammy Sand, determines eligibility for 43 Cass County individuals. We're not providing the direct service there. She's providing the authority for determining their eligibility. So, and we have a 5-member team that provides the direct care along with Tammy, who is the supervisor in that unit. And then the final page just kind of talks a little bit about our collaborations. One of the key aspects of human service zones is that we're collaborative in nature, because we know that we need to work together to make sure that our communities are well tended to and taken care of and are having their needs being met. And so with that, there's a couple I'd like to highlight with our Cass County collaboration. Currently, Kelly from our Finley office here, she's an eligibility worker. She also is providing, she covers some cases for Cass as well as Grand Forks. She has 77 individuals from Cass County that she's providing eligibility services for, and 57 from Grand Forks, in addition to the Agassiz Valley caseload. Tammy Sander, supervisor in direct care, provides care coordination, like we mentioned, determining eligibility for elderly and disabled individuals in Cass. And she currently serves 78 with 5 various service providers. Beth Morrow, our CFS supervisor, provides child protective services supervision on an as-needed basis to the Cass team, which is typically about 1 morning a week. And Brooke has been assisting as well with some of their assessments. In addition to me providing some support to Cass on some projects and with onboarding of their new zone director. They had a new zone director that started in January. And so we're just, and they also had some other tasks that we needed to finish up with the other interim director and myself. So we're helping transition those duties to her. And so we're looking forward to phasing out over the next few months. With our foster care collaboration with licensing, that actually went to a specialty team on April 1st, so just last Friday. So foster care licensing is done by a team of specialists. There are 16 of them located across the state. And so Agassiz Valley is part of that centralized unit, and we're looking forward to that. They'll have dedicated staff to work on both licensing, but also recruitment of new foster homes, which is really important in order to support the needs of the children we serve and the families we serve. I did touch a little bit about the Trail County Giving Project and the Steele County Food Pantry. And well, the Trail County Community Giving Project is a collaborative of our that Agassiz Valley provides. We work with Mayville State Child Development Programs, as well as Southeastern North Dakota Community Action Agency, and providing some key programs. We do a back to school project where we served 115 students this school year. We had the Angel Tree, which is done at the holiday time, where we served 53 children and 57 elderly and disabled, and 47 families with holiday gifts and food cards to the grocery store. And then we provide an emergency assistance program as well. And so we had 6 households that received emergency assistance in 2021. On the Steele County side, we have a similar partnership, but that is with the food pantry. And again, they have their own board of directors. Their board of directors are Dennis Lindstrom, Sam Tickison, and Renee Rayner, as you know. And so they're involved in the daily management of the food pantry, and we provide the administrative support and management support to the board. They have established a Facebook page. The Great Plains Food Bank had a food drive on April 1st in Finley, and the Finley Sharon students helped with that as part of their community service project. And the mobile food truck has been coming here quarterly, and so that's open to the general public, and it's been a nice addition to the community. And they help coordinate that through our office. We have currently 6 senior citizens that participate in what we call the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. That's a federal program. What I commonly refer this to as the box in a bag program. They get a box of food items as well as a bag of food items that weighs 65 pounds combined of food items that are provided once a quarter. The next scheduled commodity delivery is April 14th. And actually those food items are actually delivered to the door of the individuals that receive these benefits. And so, our Agassiz Valley staff deliver those commodities to them. As well as the Steele County Food Pantry has also been responding to some supply issues. Across the world, there has been product availability issues. You can even see that in some of when you're doing your own personal shopping at times where shelves are kind of empty. And so what the food pantry has done in response is they provide a $50 food card with every food box that is given out to the local grocery store. And so people can supplement their food pantry box because we may not have the variety we once had due to product availability through Great Plains. And then kind of the last item is with the closure of Lutheran Social Services a little over a year ago, human service zones have taken on additional roles. And about a year ago, I became the legal guardian of children served by their URM program that was administered previously by Lutheran Social Services. And so, and that serves about an additional 60, up to 65 children. There's currently 50 right now being served. And we were actually able to receive a contract with the state of North Dakota to officially deliver that services broadly. So we have just finished hiring an additional 9 staff that have joined our team to provide these services. And so we onboarded the first 3 yesterday. And so we look forward to providing that service as well.
You said 9?
9. So we're up to 25 staff between the zone doing different functions throughout. So that kind of provides just a snapshot of what we've been up to in the last few months. Certainly, I would welcome your opportunity for any questions or thoughts.
It's good to hear. You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you. They work very hard. And we have a good team. And we enjoy providing the service as well. I did want to mention as well, just a little bit about how you might see the traffic throughout our building. We had mentioned that our child welfare team is utilizing some of the office space downstairs. We're looking, I had visited with the board last week, and we were looking at starting April 15th. We'll be updating our messaging across the Kelly's hours and Steele County will be Monday and Thursday, and then we'll have the space available for visitations and such as well. And we'll be we've had very little foot traffic. I think the courthouses in general have seen a decrease, but we've logged since we came back from the pandemic, and there's been a total of 10 walk-ins. And actually, most of those walk-ins have been dentists coming to visit. And so with that, we want to make sure that we're putting our resources best. And so what we'll do is we'll have core hours Mondays and Thursdays, and then as needed, if clients need to schedule, we'll be on site. And then that will allow us, we're having more walk-in traffic on the Hillsborough side, so that will allow us to provide customer service there. We have seen a number of Steele County residents coming over to Hillsborough and doing walk-in there, and we think they probably are going to Fargo or Grand Forks or doing something else, and they're stopping by the office location there. So that will allow us to be flexible. But the board and I will continue to evaluate that effectiveness. We'll be looking at that each month and making a decision on or before June 30 on whether that is an effective model or not. We're just trying to utilize our space well, and so, but also just wanted to let you all know that the traffic might be a little different. We recognize that oftentimes when we're serving families and children, especially families and children that might be involved in our foster care system, sometimes the kids haven't seen the parents for a while. So sometimes the greeting, they get pretty excited, so it might generate some noise. You can imagine if you hadn't seen your child for a week or two, and all of a sudden you saw them in a lobby, it might be a welcome unification. So we'll do our best to control the noise. If it becomes a problem, please let us know. And then we just ask for privacy as well, you know, as we're coming and going, we'll try to make it as quick and efficient in and out of the building. But we appreciate having a space where we can meet with families, and so we're happy to use the courthouse here, and we're glad that it's on the main floor as well, so we don't have to bring the traffic throughout the entire building.
Right.
So
Good to hear.
Yep, you've been busy.
it has been a busy time, but it's been good.
It's good.
Mhm.
Good. Any other questions for Kim? So, Well, we appreciate what you do and stuff, Kim. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely,
Thanks for the report.
absolutely. How often would you like to see me come in? Next time, I'd love to bring Tammy Sant, who works with our adult services program, to kind of share with you what she's been up to and have you meet her. But I was just kind of wondering is there a certain month I should look at as far as your planning, or just have Emily reach out?
Kind of like every.
Quarterly?
It
Quarterly.
was every other month you guys requested, but then we had some scheduling issues, so it's
Yeah.
been to the quarter now. And so do you want to keep it at a quarter or?
Let's keep it at a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every quarter, just let's try to do that if we can. I think it's really good.
Great, so just kind of let me know what the next date might be, and then I'll coordinate with Tammy as well,
Sure.
okay?
July or August, probably.
July or August? That'd be great.
Yeah,
Maybe something like that, Emily.
yeah.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks for the
Sounds
report.
good. Thank you.
July
Yep, thanks, Kim.
is the end of business.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion for a 5-minute recess?
Got a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Both same side, motion carried. 5-minute recess.
Vote yourself a break.
Yeah, any other shirts or not? Last time I was here, you were wearing the same one.
Oh, you wanted to try to sweeten up a little?
Yeah, you do.
That's not how I define oil or rich. No, it's not. No, God, no.
You emailed the press already?
Don't forget it. And then send it to Brian after. That won't get forgotten. Two of us.
So waiting stuff to buy, so.
Did you get a little bit of rain down there?
Very little.
Very little.
Yeah, and it really right comes up. And I, no wipers on the way up at all.
No. I think Greg Stoney they were getting a little bit more over there than, that's what it said on the radio.
We got some, we got not a lot, but some.
We could use rain, we don't need snow.
Supposed to rain all day.
Higher elevations,
Well, it's
No.
higher, it's higher here, so you can get it up here, that's just fine. You don't need
I don't
even.
know why they didn't say colder elevation instead of higher, they went to higher elevation.
You run into any rain?
Uh,
No, no. Tanya, our daughter had Ashley said they had snow yesterday.
Yeah, we got, not yesterday, a couple days ago, about 4 inches. But it's almost done.
That's why I heard so.
Russell, what he wants to do.
I
Ask Russell what he wants to do.
hope it's not.
It needs to go away.
Yeah, it does.
What?
He's sitting,
Just staring at me, eating. What's
you
that?
got a little bit right there on your lip.
Save some for later.
You gotta roll with powdered sugar.
That'd be really good, miss.
Yeah. Somebody last night lost me cool.
Do you want to open these?
You wanna open them? You guys can.
Bring the fan cards, that thing or whatever. Okay.
So it's not Russell.
Yes, sir.
That's a big license then.
Yeah.
And the road department, you're up.
Okay, we got two gravel bids to open up for this year. This year is Lakeside. This for County Road 7, County Road 4, County Road 9, and Lower 6, and County Road 19. There's 34 miles total.
More.
Yes. 34 miles total of contracted out. He has certification of liability insurance. Also with that included. Open up the next one too.
You guys want copies of all this?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, go open the next one.
Well, you just want to read what you got there, Ben, real quick, and give us copies later.
Yeah. So Lakeside bid for all of them, bid out of the local gravel pits and Fordville, no Sibley pit. For County Road 7, out of the local pit, $13.25 a yard. Out of the Fordville pit, $15.50. For County Road 4, out of the local pit, $12. Out of the Fordville pit for the same, $17. County Road 9 out of the local is $12.75. Fordville out of this for the same County Road is $19.70. For County Road 6 local pit is $12. Road 6 out of Fordville is $17.50. County Road 19 local is $12, and County Road 19 out of Fordville is $18. Local gravel picked up at $5 a yard. Sibley gravel, if we're gonna pick up there, is $6.20 a ton, and Fordville, if we're gonna pick up there, is $3.60 a ton. Next bids we got were from KRB. Bid for all of them as well. They bid local gravel pits in Sibley, no Fordville. So out of the, for County Road 7, out of the local gravel, they bid $15. For County Road 7 out of Sibley, they bid $21.50. For County Road 4 out of the local, they bid $12.50. And out of Sibley, they bid $20.50. County Road 9 local, they bid $12.50. And out of the Sibley pit, they bid $19.50. For County Road 6 for local, they bid $11. And out of Sibley, they bid $17. For County Road 19, out of the local, they bid $12.50. And out of Sibley, they bid $23.75. So if we're gonna haul then out of Sibley, they bid for $8 a ton. And if we're gonna haul out of local pits, they bid $5 a ton. And they are, all their stuff is here too.
And they had a total of how many miles?
34.
Both of them had 34?
Yes. So what we've done normally is accepted both bids, and then we'll come back next month for award.
Who gets what?
Yeah. So the motion that you guys would make would be to accept both bids.
Okay,
So moved.
I'll second.
I'll abstain.
a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I'll get you guys copies before you leave today.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
And then, we have some utility permits.
Did those get?
Look,
Yep, I added it. Yep.
what's
Yep.
that?
I added it to the agenda.
Okay.
That's what we talked about.
I don't have copies for everybody, but we have 2 utility permits.
They're boring underneath County Road 1, and that's water. And then County Road 25. They're usually bore from the outside of our right away anyway, and bore underneath, and we'll keep an eye on that. So that, and then NODAC is doing one on County Road 19. We'll keep an eye on that one too.
So Reed's already approved them. What we've done is Reed or myself will give the official or the approval on them, as long as they meet the specs that we have stated. And then we just bring them to you guys for your formal approval, like you do the building permits.
So 1 is electrical and 2 is water.
Yes.
Yep.
They've met all the qualifications.
What's that?
They've met all the
Yes,
qualifications.
in prior, they have done a very nice job of cleaning up their stuff.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second on approving the utility access permits. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I'm gonna just sit right here. How about that?
Yeah.
That might help.
Like you quite supposed to.
So the next one we got for you guys, just trying to do the fast stuff right here, is the Paradox One contract. This is the software that I use to do the all the road stuff, all the reports and everything. Entering all the dailies, everything that you guys asked for. It's in the budget for this year to do it. We renew every 3 years. This is our 3rd year, so we got to renew. Total cost right now is $2,900. Like I said, it is included in our budget this year. This is just the updated contract. Nothing's changed, just the dates. So just,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Hey,
Opposed? Sign.
so Russell, there's just a spot on that top page that I need to sign.
Okay, these other ones we didn't have to
No,
sign.
no,
You want them back, right?
yes, sir.
I don't know what this is. Okay,
Can you get me a copy of that, please?
so we'll talk a little bit about the grader bid. We're passing out an example.
So what we did is we talked to Butler a little bit more. We talked to Charlie about the source well. We brought that to you guys last time, and I had said that we need to talk to Charlie just to get our ducks in a row. Charlie looked through it. Trumbull County had done something like this, or he's been involved in this before, so he was pretty comfortable with the process. Just to remind you guys what Sourcewell is, They've already done the bidding, they've already gone out, they've already solicited the bids, they've done all that process. All we would do is we'd utilize them to get the actual quote. So we'd skip the whole bid process, the whole spec bid process like we've done before. What you have in front of you is an example quote from Clay County, what Butler did with the Sourcewell contract from a couple years ago. Obviously, numbers are gonna look different than what they look in that. And obviously with trade in and all that stuff, but this is the basics of what that quote is going to look like. It's gonna be more simplified, in my opinion, on, they have to list out every single thing we ask for. They have to list out a price for it. So if you go to page 3, you'll see that. Just the specifications. So they have the motor grader, they have every very specific thing they ask for. They have to have a list price for that. That's one of the Sourcewell requirements. They have on there, if you look on the bottom, they have on there everything else that they're looking for. So if they're looking for extended warranty, the sample oil kits, all that stuff, that's all included in those pricings as well. So what we would be looking at to do for you guys is basically what we're asking to do is to utilize Sourcewell to get a quote from CAT and CAT alone for the motor grader.
Why not John Deere?
So what that does is it winds up defeating the purpose of what they've already done. Is Butler's already gone out and they've done this nationally, right? So Butler's already gone out, so is John Deere. And they've already gotten all of the pricing where it needs to be. Butler is still #1 nationally for the quotes for Caterpillar, sorry, not Butler. Caterpillar is still #1 for all of their motor grader prices. So I get the thinking of going through John Deere. This is the route that we're recommending to go.
I don't agree with that. We need 2. Get one from John Deere. You just don't have one, you have 2.
I understand.
And we have both blades.
I understand.
So that's my opinion. You need 2 to make it. I don't care what everybody else, Clay County, why do we have to do what Clay County is doing?
Well, we don't have to do what
Well,
anyone's doing.
you're right.
This is just, all this is just the example. for you guys. We wanted to bring it to you guys to have a discussion is all we wanted to do.
The discussion is about saving about $150,000 on a blade.
No, it won't be that much.
You don't think so?
No, you got to give the guy a chance. He screwed up last time he did because he didn't put his check in.
This is a whole different way of bidding. So we're bulk bidding.
No, they're only going to take one.
Well, that's.
It's already been bid.
It's already been bidded.
Yeah. Let's go just the way we've always done it before. We get our bids. We pick what we want.
This is a simpler way of doing it, was what Reed and Ben are saying. It's just make things easier and everything's done for us.
Right, so what, if we did do something, sorry to interrupt you, but if we did do something like this, what we could do is next month, we could come to you guys with all of the dollar amounts. We could come to you and say, here's the price that we have, here's the financing options that we have available. And then next month, you guys could decide on how you.
So this is what we're going. I mean, this is what your bid, you want the bid to be.
We want, the recommendation from us is to get a bid from Caterpillar utilizing the Sourcewell contract, yes.
So can you get that bid and then get one from John Deere?
We could.
And that's, I think we should do it that way. Give it a bid from each one. I know it isn't.
It's always the way it's been.
I know they say that you should just get it from the one vendor, but in my mind, I like 2 bids. And if the bids are already there, you tell them the specs we want, we know what the prices are. Then we can make the decision.
What, we could even throw a case in there. How would you like that? That's happened before.
Do whatever you guys want us to do.
You gotta have 2, and I'd say John Deere and Cat are the 2 to go. Those.
If you look at the source wells, Caterpillar is #1. I believe John Deere is number 3, I believe. Yes. 2 is Volvo, but Volvo is not a service. around
We've had
here.
that before
Yeah.
too.
So, I know exactly what you're saying.
Well,
The bids have been done.
if
It
you,
doesn't feel right in my mind that we just accept or just go after the one and whether or not it's right or wrong to ask for 2 quotes and John Deere and the cab,
you can do whatever you want then.
but you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
I'd like to see both John Deere and cab. And the bid's already there.
So the bids through Sourcewell, the bids through Sourcewell, is that what we're talking?
Yes.
Or are we talking?
No, I'm
go get
talking
one
about
from
going through
RDO?
Sourcewell. Getting a bid from Sourcewell for Caterpillar and John Deere.
They will do that?
That'd be,
We gotta pay them. We gotta pay them to do that.
No,
So this is, this Sourcewell stuff, it's a cooperative purchasing agreement, basically. It was done by the state of Minnesota because they got tired of handling all of it. And so to be a member is completely free. To get these quotes is completely free. If we sign up with something, they take an administrative cost off the quote, basically. So it's worked out between the dealer and Sourcewell. It has nothing to do with us. We don't do any of that.
so
So
they.
there's no extra, there's none of that.
I think this first way we try Sourcewell, we get both quotes. I mean, it's new to us. We don't,
Oh, absolutely.
I don't,
Yeah,
I like having 2 quotes.
Right.
And maybe not, and maybe by getting the 2 quotes, it's not gonna help us by any means, but I'd like to see 2 quotes for the first time trying Sourcewell out. And I understand, I'm saying that I understand that it's already been bid, but I want to see both quotes.
And this, what's this called?
Sourcewell.
Source. Oh, okay, right there. Okay.
There is a lot of counties that are starting to use it and have been using it.
It's one of those where it meets a niche right now. It's at the point where, and Richard can attest to, it's at the point where equipment prices obviously are getting way high. And we need to look at some ways to help offset some of those costs. To me, this is a way to do that. There's some financing options that come with this that Sourcewell has available to us as well. We kind of talked about last time.
So do we pay them for
We don't pay Sourcewell anything.
nothing?
Nothing. All of our stuff, if we decide to go with John Deere, all of our stuff will go through RDO in Fargo. We wouldn't pay Sourcewell anything.
And if you buy it through Sourcewell, either vendor will still does the maintenance work.
Correct.
And the warranty work. It's all,
Everything is.
it's like buying it right from them.
Humor me, this is the last one I'm gonna bid on. Have,
Humor you?
yeah,
Okay.
So right now, we're still looking at probably delivery date next year, I believe, right?
Yes. 12 to 14 months is what we're still on at.
So then them 2 prices come back. We don't have to, if we don't like them, we could say, well, whatever. Should almost get a bid from what a regular grader would cost.
What do you mean a regular?
Well,
rate?
through without this.
Oh.
Sourcewell.
you mean if Butler
I don't
and,
I don't think we do that.
No, so that's the problem that we were getting into, and that's why I wanted to talk about it last time, is that if in order to do this, we either need to go one way or the other. We can't do both. We have to go either through the normal bid process, how we've done it before, where we do the soliciting, we wait, we get everything open, whatever, right? Or
Here's what we can
Or we
bid,
get
we can
numbers.
bid this through the Sourcewell. And if we don't like their numbers, we can reject all bids.
yes.
yeah,
you
but
guys have
how
the-
do you know? I mean, is that,
No.
you don't, that's their opinion of what,
But you have to trust that they're buying so many machines through these dealerships and they're getting the best.
We
quote.
can go off
well,
basically.
yeah, but
what we
Minnesota
thought.
against North Dakota,
No,
yeah,
it's just,
No,
it's not, this is nationwide.
This is nationwide.
this is nationwide.
Yeah. This is actually the prices from Butler, I mean, or John Deere. If this was John Deere motor grader, this is all the prices coming right from the dealer. You know, it's not. Sourcewell
This will
making it
probably,
cheap.
this will probably be our best option to go through Sourcewell as far as the cheapest price on a blade.
So all of this,
Okay,
what
that's
Sourcewell
fine,
does is they have.
but they're both equally, John Deere gets the same thing we want.
Yeah, so my understanding is that you guys want us to get a sourcewell quote from CAP and a sourcewell quote from John Deere, along with all the financing options that go with
Yep,
that.
Correct.
Present them at the next meeting. Is
Yep.
that correct?
That'd be great.
Correct.
When they figure trade-in value and it's gonna take a year to get the new one, do they figure the extra time we're gonna have on that?
Yes,
Guesstimate it?
yes.
We got John Deere that's going, or a cat,
For what?
getting,
John Deere.
that we're getting rid of. How come we don't get rid of them old cats?
That's a him question, not me question.
Because they're still running good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not worth anything.
Okay, what else you gotta read?
You got load limits on here?
Yep,
Yep.
they are out
Yes,
and
Are they
every
on?
sign is up in the county
yeah.
They are. Oh,
stuff, so
They take it down by your place?
they never put one up.
Big one.
There's a big one down there. I even saw it.
It's there.
anything else on that you wanna elaborate on, read, or let it go as that?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Boy,
I just
thought
wanted to
you had-
make sure
I thought you had a
that
whole list.
anybody that's listening is,
I am getting bids on, to bring back to you guys for next month on County Road 23, them patches. And also on County Road 8 on, I got culvert pricing for that culvert that we're gonna replace. And also the patch job, to put over the top of that,
What size culvert was that?
8 foot,
8 foot by what?
yeah, by 110 feet.
how about out on 18 out here? Is there any way we can grind down those bumps and then redo something out there for temporary fix?
We'll be crack sealing that this year.
Yeah, but the people are complaining that the bumps are so high that it's,
It slows the people down.
that's terrible, they say in a semi, just boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 you know, so.
No, it needs a mill and overlay on it. I mean, if any type of, there is like what they did down by Hope on 32 there. Like there's a company that come out and give me a price on putting them slurries. Then instead of having one bump, you got a bump, you know, the faster you drive, the smoother it got down there on 32. I mean, but if you do a good job, I mean, but that's not gonna be cheap.
Kind of a
fixing
last
either.
ditch Band-Aid.
Are you crack sealing every year?
Huh?
Do you crack seal every
Yeah,
year? Every road gets crack sealed?
no, just like now, last year was to rotate, you know, keep going around. We wouldn't have enough product to do everything. Plus, we do it for about a month of crack sealing, and then we get on to gravel.
Mike, do you, in your opinion, is crack sealing every year? Is that something that should be done?
Yes, because when the water runs in that crack.
I'm asking Mike.
Oh, my, excuse me. I think he was looking at me. Yes.
Part of it depends on the condition of your road too. So I hate to give a depends answer because that really isn't an answer. I understand that, but the more often.
But I mean, if you can fill the crack, as long as the crack's there, if you can fill that, doesn't it make sense to fill it?
It does if you can. Yep, it becomes a financial discussion, I guess, but anytime that you can keep dirt and debris out of those cracks, you're better off.
Doesn't that cost us more not to fill it?
Then more often.
For the
you
pavement
fill
not to
it,
hold up?
the less it's gonna take. I mean,
Right.
if you let that sit there for 3 years and open up, then it's gonna take more to get filled. So the more you can do every year, the better off you are.
We used to do a lot of that.
We did it every crack,
Yeah,
but I know there was more help.
yeah.
So that's the one thing that this year we don't have the summer help. That was not included in the budget.
They didn't want them.
We couldn't also find anybody because now the requirement is they have to be 18, 19, whatever the age is. We can't hire 16-year-olds anymore.
Somebody a few years ago must have got hurt within you know, in North Dakota or whatever, where they changed that law. Can't be 16 anymore with a valid driver's license.
Well, Highway 18, it's on your list, Reed. Then, you know, that's the next one slotted, I guess, for,
So how many miles a year do you usually do, or how many roads do you do a year?
Last year was, they did 8 and then 23 this way. You know, to 17. I mean, and that's about.
So do you try to do it every 3 years?
Huh?
Do you try to do it every 3 years?
No, if the crack isn't opened up yet, I mean, there's like the product that we're using, that there opens, I mean, it stretches, it's pretty good stuff. And to where, you know, you can get quite a few years, it's probably at least 3 years before it actually breaks apart.
How many miles did you do?
15.
I think it's 75. It seems kind of low for 1 year.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe you should try to do some more. That's
Yeah,
all I'm getting at.
I've got my product already.
Well, before 38 was done by the state, it had a lot of tar on it, so it can be done for a couple more.
This year, we're gonna try to do 5 and 25 and 18. If that's what our goal is to try to do. So,
well, there's a lot of truck traffic on 18.
Coming across from Binford, Cooperstown.
Absolutely. Trucks on there all the time.
yeah. So we're gonna get started on that soon as we can.
Mike's gonna pull some money out of his hat. So we get that
Yeah.
Right, right?
So, but I guess let's.
Anything else there, Reed?
So we have some, Emily, you want to help me out? We have some resolutions to award for the projects that were bid.
Paving project, Mike sent out an email, the results of the paving project bids through the DOT. So we have a resolution to pass, awarding it to RJ Several and Sons.
Want to talk numbers just a little bit?
Yes, we do.
So it was a little less than 4% over the cost estimate. Is where it ended up. If you look through the detailed unit prices before it, about $250,000 increase in just the Fiji oil over what the estimate was. So very much so, increase in the barrel of oil is what's costing the increase as you would expect. As I indicated in the email, the estimate goes in 10 to 12 weeks before the bid opening. So oil prices kind of shot up on there. If you look at the last 3 DOT bid lettings, 8 or 9 out of every 10 projects is over the engineer's estimate, kind of for that same reason. So it's just kind of the price location that we're in. But you did get 5 bidders, which is good to have that many bidders. I think I might have said 4 in the email because the last bidder was so very high. I don't know if it was a terribly serious bid or not. As Emily mentioned, RJ Zavro was the low bidder by about $40,000. So for the federal funding on this, the federal funding has been obligated for this. With the roughly $50,000 in COVID money that the state's still holding for you, there's 1.895 million in federal funds. So at a typical 80-20 split on this, with the bid coming in over and adding on the construction engineering to that, it's going to be about $70,000 or $75,000 short of a complete 80-20 split with the feds. So what this would leave, assuming that 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 things go well on the roadway. I mean, on this particular one, you have a lot of patching needs out there, particularly with the culverts that are going to go in this spring. So there is some uncertainty on how much patching material it's going to take to try and fix some of these areas. So we're hoping that there is enough included in this. There should be, but it's about 525,000 to 550,000 is what we're estimating you're going to need for local funds to pay for this project. So the other thing to mention with those federal funds is that based on your current allocation, it's going to take 5 years to rebuild yourself out of your federal aid bucket hole. So the next time you would have federal aid available in a positive count would be 2028. As long as they don't change any of the federal transportation stuff. So I don't know if there's any questions that you guys might have.
So what was the engineering cost on that, Mike? To start with?
For the construction engineering?
Yep.
Construction engineering is estimated at 250,000. So your total project cost is estimated at 2.43 million. Round numbers.
Have we ever had these guys in the county before?
I don't think they've been in Steele County to my knowledge before, no. No, Zavro bought out a
Mindak paving.
Mindak paving out of Minnesota, so they bring some experienced guys on from there.
Not in their paving part, but it's sold material. I think they did a paving project in Trail County here 2 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't ask quite much about that.
Your track record pretty good?
I haven't heard anything bad about Zavro yet at this point. Haven't personally worked with them on any particular projects. But haven't had any bad reports on it. So the other thing to note is that part of the stipulations in the bid is that they can't start prior to June 13th. So we purposely reserve them to hold off so that we can get those culverts in the spring.
We set a completion date yet?
The completion date through the DOT was set at October 1st. And it's too early in the season. Zavro isn't going to know quite what their schedule is yet. There's a bid letting into DOT on this Friday as well. So if there's concern on the funding side, the only thing that I would have to offer in that respect is to remind you that we included a fog seal as part of this. It's getting pretty common, particularly depending on where your aggregates come from, if they've got a fair amount of shale in them possibly. We've been doing fog seals on top of these when the pavement's still warm. Provides you a better oil residual on the top and probably buys you a little time before you need to have a seal coat on it. So that cost is about $47,000 just for that. The caution that I would have on that is if you don't think you're going to be able to come back and seal coat this pretty soon, I don't know that that's something that you may want to delete. But if funding is pretty critical on this, it's always something you can talk about if you've got a way to come back and seal coat it again pretty soon.
How long do you wait to seal coat? Like,
The new wisdom on seal coats is immediately. So quite often on some of these projects, depending on the funding sources, we'll seal coat the same year. But we knew that wasn't financially going to happen this time, so we included the fog seal. The old conventional wisdom is to come back within 3 years.
3 years.
And roughly a seal coat is maybe $30,000.
A 30,000 mile, yeah. Yeah, and that's probably light nowadays with where the price of a barrel of oil is at. So if you fog seal it, it might buy you a couple of years until you need seal coat.
Yeah, I don't think we should take that out.
You said, Richard, we shouldn't?
I don't think we should take that out.
I know we talk about County Road 18, pretty much every meeting it comes up, so that's kind of why I reminded you not gonna have federal aid again until 2028.
That's a while.
That's a while, so as much as everybody dislikes gas prices, maybe there will be prairie dog funds after all. But the soonest you would get to that, just to keep that in mind too, would be 2024. If there is prairie dog funding for that.
So
Can't always be bad.
of our, we got $1 million, was that at 1505? Can we use some of that money?
My understanding is you can't use that for federal aid projects, so, right, Mike, you can't.
You can't use
be
that to
used
match on this project.
Okay.
You can use that for 18, but not for 11.
And I sent Ben and Reed the fund balances also for the road accounts. You have over $1 million in farm to market right now.
So we'll be able to take care of it. then.
I believe so. Do you guys?
We have 2 bridges though, that box culverts, we're bidding those when.
You don't have federal funding for those 2 box culverts up north yet. So they will not likely be 2023, likely 2024. So your County Road 5 project could be 2023, depending on what happens with the supply of concrete box culverts. But that's 100% federal funds.
You're talking west of the golf course.
No,
No.
east of town, the one we got
Blacktop
100% approval for
East of Bull.
on 5.
Yeah, but we already got that one paid for.
Yeah, but that's what he's
Yep.
talking about.
That's what we're just talking.
Oh, I thought you were talking west there for
Nope,
No.
west is
the
still.
federal one.
Still waiting on that.
Still waiting on that one then, okay.
I was hoping by this meeting I'd have a yes. We had a lot of conversations between FEMA and myself and Mike and the state. We answered all their questions. I know DES met with FEMA Region 8 last week, and they had some additional questions, but they were able to answer that internally with everything provided to them. So as of right now, FEMA doesn't have any more questions for us at this point. But at first I was thinking no news is good news. Now I'm thinking that, hey, they're actually looking at the project. That's gotta mean something.
But they're not.
I don't know. I hate telling you I don't know, but I don't know.
That's gotta have priority before too long.
So we have to sign this today then, Mike?
Yep.
Did we have an estimate on 18?
No.
I mean, just off the top of our head.
So let's see, County Road 11 is 9 miles. I think 18 is slightly shorter than that, if I remember it.
I thought it was like 11 or
2.5 million.
1.8,
1.8.
5 years.
I think when I handed out
That's
this,
a-
I said 2 million at that point,
It's not gonna happen.
thinking it's a little cheaper. So, you know, your House Bill 1505 proceeds only get you halfway there.
5 years, it'll be 4 million.
Yeah.
The other hope too is that the infrastructure stuff that's coming out, there's a lot of money that's coming out with that. I know the state's working on grant funding. Last time I read, they have to have all that stuff out by June of this year for awarding and funding coming up in the next couple of years. So no promises, obviously, but there's a lot of money that's coming from the feds, from the infrastructure side of it too. And that, in my little bit of reading that I did, that could also change how the federal aid stuff for you guys works. It could add a little bit more to that account, so it could shorten that 5-year time frame. That it's all gonna depend on how the feds finalize it though.
Depending on your ballot measure too, that might open up an additional 5 mils possibility for you too.
Depending on.
165 total between ARPA and the CRF, I think is what we talked about a couple months ago.
Which at your next meeting will be, then I'll be talking to you guys about that. Depending on what you guys want to do with that money.
You would ask about the Finley Golden Lake. those two bridges up there that we're working on. If there is more bridge funding that comes out of this transportation bill, it may be able to stimulate, push those ahead just a little bit. Just so you know, to your estimated local share on that is between 250 and 300,000 at this point. So if that doesn't get pushed to 2024, if you can do that in 2023, just to keep in mind, you might need more money for that. So 2.4 for 9 miles, 2 miles last, you should get it for 2 million.
What's 18? Is that what? 9 miles?
7.
7 miles. Griggs County to do the other 3-4 miles there. We'd have a sure thing.
Make a motion to accept RG Zavrel's bid. Move forward with paving County Road 11.
Got a motion on the floor? Second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of County Road 11 going ahead with RJ Zavarel and Sons, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
That's to approve and pass the resolution.
Motion carried.
So the other thing on that project is you need to do a selection process for your construction engineering in order to be able to use federal aid on that. So I sent Emily an example RFP that you could use to advertise for that.
So that is like the RFP we just published in March. And we did receive 2 contractors for that. So we will also need to set up, approve, the board should approve appointing a committee and then set up interview dates for that committee to interview those 2 firms. It's the DOT process for using their funding. There's a little bit to it. Ben's gonna be, I'm gonna be helping Ben with it, with the one, and he's gonna look at handling it from there. But we're gonna team up on it together.
So I think the first one to finish up the County Road 11 paving project is the RFP language that you guys have. We'd be looking for a motion to approve that so we can get that put in the paper and out to the state.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
So the next thing what Emily was talking about is the setting up the interview committee dates. We did get 2 RFPs back for, or 2 proposals back for our RFP, thank you. For the County Road 5, the bridge projects stuff that we did. If you guys remember, we had to go through the whole east, but we had to go through the whole process. So we'd be looking to set up the committee, right?
Correct.
Set up the committee and select those dates to do the interviews. Last time it was myself, Reed, Emily, Richard, and Russell. Same recommendation, I guess, unless you guys want one different. I was looking at portfolios, if you wanted to follow portfolios for some reason. Ted is bridges, Brennan's roads and gravel, Richard is shop, Russell's personnel, so however you guys want to do that.
I can make myself available.
Brandon's on the portfolio of the roads and stuff, then he can jump in there then too, huh? Do you want to do that?
I'll do it.
So the recommendation would be myself, Reed, Emily, Richard, and Brandon. And then we need to figure out dates for interviewing our 2 proposers. Decide that now.
Let's do the motion for that committee.
So moved.
So,
You got a second on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
sorry, Ben.
No, you're good. I told you I'd help. This is me trying.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, then decide a interview date.
Dates.
So would like the 19th work, April 19th?
I don't mean, ready.
Looks to the,
18th is Easter Monday. Apparently we can't do 18th.
let's do the 20th. At 2 p.m.
Well, it's my first.
Okay.
I can avoid the 20s.
Okay, April 21st. 2 p.m.
April 21st.
2 p.m. Does that work for you, Brian?
That'll work, I think.
So you'll have to schedule 2 times.
Need you here.
2 and 2:30 then? Or how long does it take?
It
That's
takes
up
a
to you.
half hour sometime. I mean,
I think,
Here's one question, can we do 2 and 3?
yeah,
Because we'll have to talk after rate.
2 and
scan.
3.
2 and
So
3.
2 and 3?
Mike, can you do 2?
Yep.
Saves me a phone call.
Yep.
Okay, 2 and 3 then.
Are you gonna call?
Yeah, I can he touched base with me yesterday, so.
Sorry.
That's all we got?
So not for roads and bridges.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks, Mike. Reed,
So at the next meeting, we'll be doing the same process for the request for proposals that we're publishing this month. Just heads up.
let's move back on the ballots and stuff for the election. We should probably get those in the paper too. We get the word out about them.
We did bring that up at our annual, the Steele County Annual Township meeting too. To discuss that and the extension office. Both.
I think that'd be wise to get that out there, so.
There wasn't a lot of attendance there. It was only 10 probably of the townships probably, and then probably with the county people 10. I mean, I think there was 19 and they called one more to get 20.
Oh,
They did. They voted to lower the, lower it to 15. Have a quorum, then 20. And they voted to go with 1 meeting a year instead of 2. So they're gonna have a spring meeting only, I think, and not a fall meeting.
so that's what they decided on that?
Yeah,
Was
And if-
1 meeting a year?
yeah, and if.
If
as
needed,
Yeah,
as
as needed, they go to a second.
Okay,
The only complaint that we got from the only complaint that I heard at least was from the roadside, and that was for the bumps on 23. And that's what Reed was talking about. He's gonna get some pricing to you guys next month for getting those the way they need to go.
okay, moving on, emergency manager, grants updates.
I really have, I thought I'd have more. I have nothing. So I was gonna play around with the idea of removing me off the agenda, figured I'm here, I can answer any questions you have. I sent that information out. I know it was pretty late yesterday. I was really hoping for some good news. I didn't get any of it, so the information I sent you guys is all of the first page there is just all the grants that I'm managing right now. It's like $500,000 total. And then the second page was just some of the ideas that we got going forward. As part of my process and a part of the EMPG funds, I have to ask you guys if there's anything, training exercise grants that you guys want to see moving forward or want to look at. I have this conversation pretty much daily with the chiefs and the rest of the department members across the county, but is there anything you guys are looking at specifically that we want to do? Focus for sure is going to be school security and cybersecurity on this next round of Homeland Security grant funding. So the schools, I have reached out to both superintendents and told them about it. They're going to work on some verbiage to get worked up for their end for the school side. Cybersecurity, there's a lot that we need to do here, starting with plans, going into rewiring the courthouse, going into a whole bunch of different things. So we're gonna shoot for the moon and see what sticks.
What's the status on our generator?
Tyler hasn't reached out and I truthfully haven't reached out to him.
I asked him and he did reach out to Tyler and the generator is in, but they're waiting for 2 dampeners, I believe. So it's a week or so, they thought.
So as soon as that gets done, we can start that process of getting it installed.
So we'll have to remove the other one and who's gonna do our construction work or is building the forms for the generator? Sit on and all that.
Good question.
Plus then this is gonna be done on the weekends and stuff too, so we don't
Yeah.
shut the courthouse down during the week.
Talking to Tyler, he said nights and weekends is gonna be his plan to try and get it all looped in. There was a lot of pre-work he was hoping to get done this spring and then this winter. And he was he didn't get around to it. He's been busy on his own stuff. So there'll be some pre-steps that he needs to do while the generator's getting installed and then to work towards getting it switched over. So it's gonna be a few weeks more than likely.
Then do we have to have hire a crane to lift it?
My understanding is that Reed was saying that we got the equipment that should be able to handle it.
I don't think it's that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think they can
We should be able to lift it off and then rehook it and
place
set it in
it.
place.
Okay.
You guys have
The payloader will lift that?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that heavy. Is there specifically somebody that you want me to go talk to about concrete? All that?
Well, I know where we can get it from.
I do too. That's what I'm asking.
Do we have to alter the concrete at all? Has anybody seen the plan for that?
Tyler was looking at it and before it snowed and he was thinking we might have to extend it a little bit, but you guys should talk and
We should
figure
figure
it
set
out.
a plan and see
Yeah.
what. See if it needs.
Yeah, he's got all the everything, so.
I'll get with him and see what. if we
Yeah,
need to-
right, yeah.
If we have a,
Maybe we can get some help from reading
Yeah.
boys over there and stuff. Build some forms or something or whatever. and If we gotta dig down and get some footings down below or something stronger or whatever.
I don't think they'll have to go down footings. I think they'll be able to figure it out with
just a nice flat
just a
slab.
nice flat slab. I don't think they'll have to do footings.
I don't know what the generator weighs or what, but it's,
I knew that at one point and I don't remember.
yeah, okay,
I'll make sure Tyler and Richard get.
I'll get with them and
okay.
then we'll figure out the game plan.
The storm shelters, I talked to you guys about that this morning. That was the other update. Forterra does have this on their schedule, much to Mike's demise, because they get kicked out a lot of stuff and we were the last ones, I think, to be looped in for this year. So Forterra does have us on their agenda for October. So we will get the storm shelters in October of this year. Wayne, just letting you know. The other one is the hazard mitigation planning meeting, kickoff meeting. We have to update our hazard mitigation plan every 5 years to be eligible for these hazard mitigation projects. We did hire Heartland Consulting to come in and do that. They did our plan. They wrote our plan 5 years ago. So they're going to come in and do the update. There is grant funding for that. You guys signed all that stuff and appointed me as person to deal with it. So that's all done. Just giving you an update. April 12th at 7 p.m. in the basement here is that meeting. I think as part of the process that we had about a year ago, we appointed Brandon to be the commission representative for those meetings. Everyone is invited. It's just that Brandon was the specific one for the commission rep, but everyone can come.
We would have to know though, so we don't have a quorum there.
So the first one will be here. We'll hold the second one and hope like we did last year. We'll flip flop them back and forth.
Okay,
That's coming up. Am I missing anything?
Have you heard anything through township or anything about how our roads came through the spring so far?
Pretty good so far. Last week we had township officers meeting that I went through Broadlawn a little bit in some of their back roads and they had some culverts that hadn't opened up yet. But it sounds like over the weekend, those did open up. So minimal flooding. We definitely won't meet FEMA. I told them last week, we won't meet FEMA specs this year for flood declaration. So we're not seeking that. We are extremely dry. So fire season might be very interesting as soon as we get, depends, obviously, if we get some decent rain, then we'll be okay, but.
so the business with the radios and stuff, that's not till next year?
Yeah, so Trail is switching over to the new system at the end of this year. Their whole new console upgrade in the dispatch center. So we have things prepped right now for law enforcement, for the sheriff's office here. At least their in-vehicle radios, their mobile radios in the truck. It's just paying to get those switched over. There's like a $2,000 or $3,000 per radio thing that we got to add into it. It's nothing crazy. So we're expecting that end of this year, early next year is when we're expecting those, our main portion of the console upgrade to go. So that's where next month, Charlie and I will come talk to you about ARPA funds. That'll be one of my things I'll talk about too. As far as the radio upgrades for the rest of the county, we did secure grant funding at 100%. So we did not have to go into the fire department's pockets at all for the truck radios for them. So all three departments got truck radios. They are setting up at Stones right now. We're waiting to install them just until we switch over to the new system. So this grant cycle, what we're going to work on for the county for the responders is the portable radios, the ones they carry with them. We've had some discussions about who actually needs portable radios, and that's where my thought process of 24 for the county total for the responders would, I think, suffice. What this is going to do is it's going to not everybody's going to need to carry a radio, and so we would help. If this grant funding works, we would basically do the same thing as we did last year. We'd supply the initial funding to cover the initial cost, they reimburse us whatever was left over. That's kind of my thinking, and it's very initial into grants right now, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay,
that's the thinking. I'll do the same for the sheriff's office, apply for those portable radios next month about ARPA funds and possibly utilizing some for that and go from there.
Okay,
that's my update. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's a scam.
Okay, what do we, public health next? There we are.
COVID updates. We are getting the second booster for everybody that wants it. Next week we'll open some arbiter. So that is for ages 50 and older for a second dose and 12 plus years of age with not severely immunocompromised. And it must be 4 months after first booster dose.
What'd you say you had for shots now?
Today is Pfizer.
Okay.
I took an enroll. I thought up some ideas for the administrator DON position talked with Charlie about it. And have him kind of look over the proposal. We feel the best solution to the problem is Emily fulfilling the role. She's qualified. She knows what's going on. The only issue right now is that she'll be going on leave shortly, and for about 2 months, maybe 3 months, we'll need assistance with the administrator stuff. I mean, we need grants submitted monthly, and Ben has said he has no, he does not want to do it. So that was between Courtney and I, that was the solution between the time periods. We don't have that alternative. So our proposal was that Emily be the successor for or the administrator role. And then I would assist remotely, her in as needed. And get paperwork, things like that. And we'd reevaluate in 3 months, seeing how it goes, seeing how Emily feels about things. And I would do that for $1,000 a month. Overtake hours if I went over or under. We have 5K coming up for 20 days. Another 5K coming up in July, likely at the lake. It's Steele County night out. All of that stuff has a lot of planning to do. Somebody needs to be doing that. It is just a proposal.
They're having a hard time hearing you there.
Just a proposal. We feel it's a good solution to the problem, as I know all the grants. I can do that.
Thank you.
So after 3 months, would you be done then? You just been about 2 months or whatever?
The plan was that we reevaluate in 3 months and see how it's going for me with my other job, for Emily, how she's feeling about it. Also to see where COVID's at, because if COVID isn't taking up as much time, for health equity grant is very time consuming. And I'm willing to stay on even until the grant ends, if it works for you guys, Emily and myself, you know, if everybody's comfortable.
So what about the coordination with the grant? Is that how she's hired right now? Is there any issues there?
Any issues with how she's hired currently?
I don't believe so, but to reiterate what Catherine said, is that, or alluded to, is that if we end up the one person department, we're not fulfilling the parameters of that grant.
Yep.
It was meant for there to be a second person.
Yep.
So I think that was why Catherine made the proposal. So we can continue to operate under that grant and be in compliance with it, and not have to worry about trying to find someone to fill that position. Shorter term than what it was originally filled for. So that's what we have to do. Or else someone would just drop the grant. That would be a huge mess.
The state does not know what time to if we drop the grant. I can say that straight up. Because in the beginning, there are several departments that wanted to say no, and the state just pretty much said, you say no, it's not gonna look good on record. So it's not a great alternative. Doable. But a lot of the work we've currently put into making the county better, that's all gonna go down the tube if we got, you know, gave up the grant. And people are enjoying the things that we've It happened. I just look at it as you're gonna at least have a 2-month period of nobody doing your work. Even if you onboard somebody, you're gonna have a 2-month period of nobody doing it. So
I think we almost have to do a 3-month trial period, advertise the position, try to fill it. I think we need 2 people in that office. The way things are going, I mean, we don't know when it's gonna change, whether it's gonna be a state run down the road or what. We don't have 2 people in that office, and say if the state did take over and say, well, you guys only need 1 anyways. Better to have 2 people in the office.
So are we going to, if we do that, then are we going to have to? We're gonna have to probably run. Well, 1 for the position. So
You have to run,
you've all gotta,
yeah, say
let's say
if
Emily
you were-
applies.
say if you applied, we'd have to hire for that position, her position first, and if you did apply for that position, if you were qualified for it, and we did hire you, then we'd have to apply or have your position filled as well.
well, that's something to look at too, if I can do the background work on that. And at the end of the 3-month period, it is working out. You guys don't need to onboard somebody for that remaining 10 months. That's saving you guys money too, not onboarding another person. So, I mean, it's all something, it's all a proposal, it's all whatever you guys see fit is.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just don't feel like we need to. If Emily is qualified and she's got half the experience already, why wouldn't we just bump her up and, you know, 'cause we don't have to now, right? If you're doing it in-house, you can, if they qualify for the job, you can hire them just like that. They don't have to apply. I mean, you don't have to,
Effectively, internal.
right? And are you saying like in 3 to 6 months, if COVID is done deal, that it probably could be run by a 1-person office, or?
How long does her term go till, Emily's term go till? It was a year, it was a
June of next year.
June of next
But
year.
when you look at by the time you onboard somebody, where you're at in the calendar year.
So I mean,
The learning
technically, if we do upgrade her to your position, 3 months down the road, we should be looking for somebody to fill her position. Is what I'm getting at.
What I'm proposing though is that I'll stay on and do the needed stuff to get you guys by, as long as it works for
Right.
that 3-month trial. You know, I think in the end of 1 to 2 months, I'm gonna know if it's too much for me at that point in time, you know, and I don't think that, I'm not gonna tell you guys I can do it and not do it. I mean, so. And then I think, you know, Emily's very qualified for the position. She catches on very quickly. She knows her stuff. She works hard. She gets new plans. She's always coming up with new ideas. So, I mean, it's all up to you guys what you want to do.
What you could do is hire Emily under an interim basis, saying, okay, you're in the interim here, this next 3 to 6 months, you're our director. We're still taking under advisement on what you're gonna handle. That way it wouldn't be a permanent decision that you're making. It's 3 months or 6 months, or July, and see how that goes as well. So then you're not committed to that.
You, Catherine, want to fill them in kind of a little bit on Trail County and stuff too?
So we're going on leave. I have discussed with Trail County about somebody coming in to help fill the office. And one of their people will be out on leave of absence for medical reasons, but Chris is willing to come over Mondays and help out be in the office, be the nurse if we need, you know, shots done, things like that. And so she would leave Hillsborough at 8, be back to Hillsborough by 4:30, but she would keep our doors open for that time period and be available. And then we discussed with Aurora about changing up her schedule a little bit. Carrie and Jenny are both on board that Aurora would be down in public health Wednesday, Thursday to keep the doors open, phones answered. And we also looked at the idea of forwarding the phone to Emily's work phone, so that that would be getting answered, and she was willing to come in after a couple weeks after. She was willing to come in and help out as needed, if somebody needs shots or things like that, or equipment. So definitely bridging the gap the best we can. Chris was like 25 an hour plus mileage. It was her. And she wanted to be a contract 1099 for those 2 months if she was to do it. Terrell County wanted to keep it off their books, so it doesn't screw up their budget.
So Emily, when you're on maternity leave, are you just gonna be gone for that long? Or are you gonna maybe remotely a little bit, or?
I plan on working on my grant stuff, and then if this proposal goes through, working on getting some orientation work done on the administrative side with Catherine. And then if you guys need me to come in and do shots after. Till I get back to
Right,
normal.
I
a
get
little
it,
bit,
yeah.
Then I'll come in, just call somebody, just call them, shots. Needs to be.
Got a lot of options on the table.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to point out that we've thoroughly thought this through. We've explored all avenues to make this work the best we possibly can. It's not something that we you know, thought of lately. We've had several discussions with several different people about things we need to watch for, things we need to look for, make sure nobody's getting burnt out. And so it's been well thought out.
I think it's great that Trail County is willing to help us out and stuff that way and everything. And then with Aurora and the rest of the ones here to adjust schedules and everything else, I think is a big plus too. And the only thing is we don't want you, Catherine, to get burned out neither if you're doing 40 hours of your other job and then you're doing another 25 hours for the county here a month and stuff too. So it's all something that you, Emily, and us got all take into consideration.
And for me, I mean, it's not a forever thing, so.
Right,
You
yeah.
can limp by for a few months, there were. And she picks it up and then
Right.
you'll say, see you later.
Well, I don't want us to lose that grant money neither through June of 23 and stuff too, you know, if we can keep both positions, you know, I think it's great for the county here and stuff.
It's covering the whole office since June of 2020. March of 2020, the county has not had to front any funds for the office. So that's a
Huge.
3 mills. They haven't had to front.
Yeah.
So, I mean, further down the road, if we get to this 3-month scenario, say it's too much. Need to kind of know that a little earlier, so before you decide to say I'm done. Search for.
On that, I mean, I myself, I would just advertise that position now.
Right now.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the 3 months. Honestly, you're doing it 3 months. I love it. I'm glad that you're gonna do that for us, but I like having 2 people in there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to take on a full-time job plus this already.
So, I mean, it can totally go back to, I'm willing to bridge the gap till you get somebody hired. But that's where, I mean, you guys can certainly hire to do what you need to
I
do.
mean,
and
we
that's
may not,
perfectly
we may
fine.
not have anybody that applies either. We don't know.
Well, that's the other scenario, is
Yeah, we
nobody
don't.
applies, but the other thing is if you do hire somebody, I mean, how long does she stay on to help get through the learning curve? I mean,
Well, I mean, if she's willing to get 3 months to us, I think we take it.
yeah, well, I'm hoping it's more than 3. And Emily, you know, after 6, 8 months, and Emily can handle it. She's got to take care of it. And then we can find
I mean,
somebody to
'cause
take that.
If we feel that Emily is competent enough to do the main job, and then we have to hire Emily's position. I mean,
Yeah,
I think instead of waiting around, let's get this advertising going. That's just my opinion.
guess
Just
it doesn't
to
hurt
see
to
what-
advertise it and see
It
what we
doesn't
get.
hurt.
See
See
what
what
shakes
we
out.
Well, we advertise Catherine's position first. See if we get any applicants and see who we would hire for that. If Emily's a good candidate for it, hire Emily. If not, then we hire somebody for that position. If Emily does get hired, then we have to advertise her position.
The only thing I see with that is now you're looking another 3 months down the road at the health equity that's chopping time off that grant, you know, once you get under a year for that temporary position, that's not a solid position for anybody.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you're not gonna get somebody hired, I just,
Well, I mean,
You know.
we can put advertise it next week and we have 2 weeks, or we can close it in 3 weeks and.
whatever, I'm just throwing that out there that it's a, we had a hard time hiring it for the first time, so. I would like to see some sort of motion made on that, so Emily and I can figure out going forward what we're gonna accomplish in the next 2 weeks. What has to be accomplished in the next 2 weeks.
So what do you guys think?
I think we hold off hiring anybody. I'd like to see if this works out first and. We're, like you said, we're to the point now where we're just about under a year on that grant and trying to hire somebody for
A couple months.
10, 12 months that's not feasible. I'd say if worst case scenario, we have to, let's do it then, but if you're willing to help out as much as you can, you know. If Emily's got half the experience right now, I don't foresee, like right now, like when you leave on the 23rd, I don't foresee really many changes down there, other than when Emily goes on maternity leave. So she comes back in how long? 3 months? 2 months? So in 2 months, you come back, you hit the ground running again, and you know, there's no learning curve.
Well, and the nice part with it too is I'll have the ability to remote in with her. We can share screens, we can figure stuff out. I can teach her along the way. It's just a big learning curve with it, and I've thought through it for a long time. So that's what I see, is that it's something that it can go a lot smoother. There's ways to make it go smoother.
I just don't want there to be no lull in for the public. You know what I mean?
And when she goes on leave, I'm planning to help with home visits and things like that too, so.
I was just gonna mention, Charlie, did you do any of the title training with the DOT this last month? For Title 6, 7, 8, all of them.
DOT.
They held trainings for that. It was specifically asked, and they did say positions do need to be posted. So I'm just throwing that out there. Correct,
Well,
because
I
it's
understand
required
that,
for our
that-
federal funding for
right,
the,
That's gonna involve federal funding, right? So that's why in the context that question was asked. But when there's federal funding involved, then there might be implications of those.
okay, I'm just bringing it up because we took the training, so.
They provide great literature on that.
I can ask them for it, sure. Or I might still have the handout, the slideshow for you.
So we're calling into question again if we can do this or not. Is that what I'm hearing? Well, let's figure that out first.
Not in my opinion, but.
And then,
But I think when you.
Charlie's the attorney, so
I think
I'm just letting you know what we've learned through the Title VI portion of it.
okay, well,
I think we're better off hiring. Interim interim basis for that 3 months. Interim director of nursing. And then see how that 3 months. pans out. And that's based upon what Brian was saying that they're.
and then if we want to hire after that or post it all, we can post it all. It's just a interim deal. Okay, what does everybody else think of that?
But
Yeah.
then we're also including Trail County in on this too, right?
As far
Right,
as-
Charlie, as far as you're talking through this 3-month process?
Weeding what Captain brought up.
That'll
Yeah.
be 2 months. That's just during when Emily's out.
When
And
she's
then
on
Emily will be
maternity
back in
leave.
the office. So it was just a contract 1099.
He'll be hired as a private contractor.
Yes. That'll go straight through Chris.
Yeah, that's.
And that's when she comes back, that'll be done.
Yeah, but don't we have to write up something with Trail County on that?
No, we're doing it as a contractor, so it'll be separate from Trail County.
She'll have to submit an invoice and
She'll submit an invoice, yep, per se. And it'll just bill us for her hours and mileage.
I just want to get all our dots crossed and
Yeah.
Ts and everything. stuff
She'll
here,
do a
so-
W-9.
All right, yep, you're right. She would like 25 an hour. Make sure I stated that, plus mileage from Hillsborough.
Couldn't we write up a small contract for a short-term contract for 2 months? Just the same thing.
Right, yeah.
I'm still sticking with, we gotta hire somebody right away. If you guys want to do that, make a motion, so we move on.
I'll make that motion.
You got a motion on the floor?
That we do, we're doing a interim
Trial period, yeah.
I'll second it.
Got a
Should
second?
should we do the, making Emily the interim public health nurse as of April 23rd,
25th.
25th?
From that date, 3 months.
3 months. We'll do a trial period and then we'll see how everything works and revisit it.
I mean, we can revisit it at
2 months.
well, I mean, we can revisit it at our commission meeting there, see how things are going between both you.
Yeah.
If it's working or not, and then we can get some more legal clarification on exactly with federal funding and what we can do. And if not, then we'll go back to posting and move on from there.
So was that
Well, we
motion?
got, is that federal funding on that grant?
It is federal
It's been
funding.
paying the office for the last year, so
What's that?
it's been paying the office, she said, the last year.
It is federal funding, yes.
I didn't know if it was state or federal.
It goes through the state filters around, yeah. So is that accepting my proposal?
So you said April
Yes.
25th on that.
April 25th would be the start date for her. April 22nd is my last day, unless you want to do
Okay,
April 22nd.
well, that's what I was trying to clarify
Yep.
that. Your last day was this, her first day is this,
Yep.
okay, yeah. So,
through your neck, through that commission meeting date of that month, 3 months from now, rather than 25th and then 3 months from the 25th, because that's not gonna take you, that's not gonna overlap your commission meeting.
August 2nd.
Yeah, but at that meeting, that'll be 3 months down the line. You probably want to run through that.
yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
point, Charlie.
Do August 2nd.
Okay.
Then,
You got a motion and a second on the floor. We want to do a roll call vote on this. Brian,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Richard,
No,
Russell, yes. Motion carried.
Next things, I gave you guys a handout of the income statements. Wasn't, but I just wanted you guys to have my last fiscal statement, since I didn't know where we were. Our positions and things like that. So you'll notice that it reflects that we are at $48,448 for income, and our expenditures are at $56,527. That is simply because our quarterly reimbursement comes this month. So we paid out 3 months of expenditures. We just haven't received the lump sum back. So that should be adjusted looking at it next month. That shows you where the remaining extra grant money we have. It's sitting on the very bottom under the expended. So, and we are 13.72% expended for our budget this year. And that, I just gave you an outline of what we're doing for the summer for activities with 5Ks, the Steele County Night Out, and the wellness program. Started blood pressure clinics in all 3 cities. That's all we have. Anything else? And highlighted on this is what I would be expected to do until we structure.
Any other questions for Catherine?
Thank you. Thank you for serving the county and
yes, thank you.
Yep.
Good luck with your new
good
job.
luck with
Yeah.
your,
Thank you.
And Charlie, if you can draw up that agreement or whatever as soon as possible, so we get that signed and stuff, that'd be great.
Thank you, ladies.
For trailer meet?
Yeah, right. And everything, yep, so. Okay,
was your motion to approve the pay for Catherine too?
Yes.
And Emily's
the-
pay remains the same under the
Pay
grant?
for
Yeah.
Trip County one.
Yes.
okay, moving on here. Gonna go into HR structure. Or is there-
Part of the HR structure, the deadline to register for that HR conference is April 15th. I just wanted to share that because you asked last meeting. I don't know if somebody was gonna talk to all the department heads, if you guys still felt that You wanted to send all the department heads, how you were gonna do that?
Well, I know Jenny is already registered.
She is the only one,
She's the only one.
so.
I don't think there's a need to send all the department heads that. Look at the agenda. There's some things that are might be helpful, and there's some things that. I don't. Personally, I would actually go myself if they have trials that those days for these juvenile cases that Kim's been talking about for Steele County.
Charlie, can you pull that closer?
So I can't go. I don't. I'll leave it up to you guys.
Nobody from the auditor's office signed up.
Well, you guys schedule, I haven't signed up, you guys scheduled that interview for that date, so. Carly can go, Amy is gone. Carly can go and cover Wayne, the sheriff's office and here, but. If I'm part of the road committee, I will be here that day.
Well,
Yep.
First or whatever.
Not a good day for a lot of us. There's a lot of stuff going on. Either the 20th or the 21st.
Yeah. So. Well, I guess whoever can make it. Can go with them, so. So what's his joint powers agreement?
That was sent out from NDACO, Association of Counties. It is, I was kind of hoping Ben would know a little bit more about it, but it's the geographic information system program they've done with the entire state. It was included in your packet. They're looking for approval and signing of a joint powers agreement with every county. So it would entail a yearly amount of $3,375 for it. It provides, the first page of the handout provides, you know, a lot of information that could be useful to counties, the parceling, emergency services, roads, addresses. A lot of things that our current GIS doesn't have, but it would be statewide.
It's going out to all the counties. All the counties will be. I think Trail was doing that today as well.
So there's a good percentage, everybody's gonna join then? Across the state?
I would say yes, but they are all probably presenting it at this meeting today too. So I don't have answers.
Is there a deadline on that?
As soon as possible.
Is this new?
They're looking at rolling it out very soon. So it is new, yes. It does help with, you know, districting and items like that with the election for us also. You know, I don't know how much it's helpful to Ben and Wayne's offices also for emergency services. You know, I would imagine the water board would find it very helpful also.
What's everybody think on this?
I don't see us being able to afford the funding to advance our GIS program to that point.
So that was per year, $3,300?
Correct. It would be prorated. for the first year, because we don't have a full year.
Mhm. Comments, suggestions? Put it on next meeting.
So when we call up for questions on GIS or anything like that, does it cost us anything when we're checking with NDACO?
We don't, it hasn't been available to this point yet.
So where do we
Haven't
get our
done that
information
before.
from?
There'll be a link. A link that anybody can access the information.
And where did we get that information before? Like when we were looking for GIS stuff or?
Lots of time in digging, searching,
Really?
trying to do Google Maps or find somewhere else that had that already mapped out.
Looks like if we do purchase it, we can back out at any time if we give 30-day notice.
It'll pretty much help every department, you think?
I think Ben got the email too, so I don't know.
I don't see a due date on here. It's something we could table until we get more information on.
Yeah, I don't see.
They
nothing on here
initiated the
either.
program on April 1st.
We didn't pay anything April 1st.
No, they just initiated the GIS program to be available April 1st.
Well, if we table it till next month, it should be okay.
Sure.
Is that what you guys want to do?
I don't know if we need to do that. I mean, if we can rescind this at any time, I don't know why.
We can do that too, yeah. 30 days.
Is that the paper?
Yeah.
I'll send you. I can send you Terry Trainer's email.
Well, if we can get out of it within 30 days.
Says prorated, so I guess really what's the difference? If most counties are reviewing this today and doing it, it's prorated.
Well, I think we should do it.
Who's
And,
our, who's, I mean, there should be something from our GIS that gives us a little
Spiel.
Yeah. County, our county.
Our county GIS?
Yeah, whether they should-
Nobody does our county GIS.
Work on that. I mean, I'd like to see some kind of recommendation from our internally here.
Amy updates the farm, the land part of it. That's it.
Did either Ben or Amy look at any of this?
She will still have to update the values on the farmland.
Right.
So that won't change for her. But and Ben, yes, Ben received this also. I know it hopefully will be helpful for us as we've been reaching out to Ben with address questions for voters quite a bit lately. We don't have an updated system on our end to do that. So, you know, it just hopefully will help take some of the constant emails about addresses off him.
I think Charlie, I figured out.
So I kind of defer to your position that it'd be nice to have Amy and or Ben, and those two offices would be the ones.
I mean, it's a small dollar amount, but it's
It is.
annually.
It is, but it looks like those two offices would be the ones that this would be most beneficial for, but I don't know anything about it. We have them talk to you guys about it next meeting. And they're just launching it now, so it's.
I would say those two do some research on this and give us their input on it for next meeting. Would be great. That's my opinion.
I agree. Okay, moving forward yet. On public health position, we've done that. Now it's just,
You asked me to put it on there separately too. Did,
yeah, but we got it
Okay.
all figured out now. Everybody's 100% on that then? Public health stuff? So we can move on to HR.
Okay, I'll give you guys a quick update. Emma and I have been exchanging emails, communicating about what basic HR stuff will remain in the auditor's office, such as payroll, W-2s, all that stuff. We haven't gotten there completely. I think I've included Brandon and Russell on those emails. Haven't I?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're still working through those. Should be there by next meeting. As far as what I mentioned I'd do at last meeting, I did follow up with Chuck at North Dakota Association of Counties, since he was assisted Brandon in drafting up that proposed HR restructuring here. I also talked with Shannon Euchre at North Risk Partners, or whatever his place is called. Had good conversations with them. They were both very complimentary about their conversations with Brandon and Russell, and feel like Steele County has, based upon what I informed them the commission did, they feel Steele County has made a good decision to move forward on HR issues, given what we've been, given the issues and problems we've been having, and that we're headed in the right direction. And so again, Emily and I have been getting information about what we understand to be staying in the auditor's office and what will not be. In the interim here between now and your next meeting, I would just like, as the interim administrator of HR, which I will continue to do, that's fine. I just like a little bit of authority to, if I need assistance from another department head on an HR issue, that you guys give me that authority to request that they give me some help. I'll just give you an example. Let's just say we have a work injury in the road department, and we need to get the report of injury and all WSI stuff done and so on and so forth. If I'm not immediately here, that's something that kind of needs to get done as quickly as possible. I can foresee myself saying, Ben, given your connection to the road department, here's the paperwork, go over and make sure all this gets filled out correctly and so on and so forth. That's just an example of or I could even, if Ben wasn't here, I could ask somebody in Emily's office to do it, or just those types of things where I just want to make sure we have the bases covered if something like that doesn't come.
can we clarify that my office will not be doing that? I wasn't aware of that. If so, then I need to get other people's sign-ins and authorization on.
I think that's part of the overall discussion, Emily, about whether that's going to stay in that office or not.
Okay. Well, that's why I'm asking
Right.
too.
And because that's basically more the risk management part of it. And I did talk to Chuck at North Dakota Association of Counties. His own, one of his statements to me is that if you are going to move the HR, most part out of the auditor's office, you might want to consider moving that out as well. And so I think that's part of the discussion.
I mean, per your example you use, I think there should be somebody that you could appoint to help you, because that say workforce injury, that has to be done that way. It's supposed to be.
Well, first of all, how is it working, Charlie? I mean,
Everything's going fine. I've made what I would call some relatively minor HR decisions that as far as I'm concerned, and stuff that doesn't even need to be really that the commission needs to deal with. And
second of all, so I'm gonna go back to the first thing I had with the committee involvement. You know, beings that are, I mean, and that's up to the commission too, I guess, to see if you guys want to proceed to that route, because I feel just like Charlie gave a great example of some issues that can involve when he's not here, he's over the trail and stuff like that. And either if you feel comfortable enough to delve out some of that work, or should we set up some sort of committee? That's just kind of.
yeah, I kind of did use your committee suggestion as a hybrid to what I was getting at, is that I kind of see it that way. If I can rely on Ben or rely on Jenny or even rely on Emily's office to do some of those things, I think that kind of gets us, at least for now. I'm not saying we're gonna stay, I'm not saying that I'm committed to doing this full time or anything like that, and whether we want to go that route, but I just think as we explore this, we should be closer to an end game, you know, next month. I'm just saying that during that time frame, it would be nice for you guys to let other department heads know that they possibly expect requests from me for assistance, is all I'm saying. And I think I would just pick who our best option would be. And I gave you the example of the road department, and Ben, because he works with the road department, it could be an entirely different scenario where I feel like Emily's office was better to help.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? I can't give you an example.
Yep.
But not ruling out the committee, but actually it's kind of a offspring of that, or hybrid of that, in the sense that there's a potential for all the departments to have a role to some extent in HR, moving forward, but at least for now, for the next month or so.
So we're kind of,
I think all the department heads should be helping out more in HR. They should all have some kind of learning on this, but like, just for example, that not everybody's gonna be able to, they don't know how to fill a workforce safety plan. Not everybody's got passwords or knows where to put all this stuff. And maybe all the road head, the department heads should be learning how to do that. There's certain thing, I'm just picking on that.
whether it's maybe the process.
Right.
I agree.
I think there should be some more put on the department heads.
I agree.
One thing was brought up was time cards.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Time cards should be, the department head should go over all the time cards and then submit it in.
And then they should be processed.
Yes.
And that's an example that.
I always thought they were.
So did I. But what my experience is telling me is that it's kind of been a self-fulfilling prophecy in the way where there are some department heads and or employees who've just come to think, well, even if I have made a mistake on a time card, it'll get fixed at the auditor's level. Or even if I make this mistake, it'll get fixed here. It's time for departments and department heads to start owning their departments. And one of the things that I will be looking at here in the next month is this time card deal. And, my thought is a department head, and yes, it's going to be more time consuming for departments that have more than one or two people, like Wayne's office and the road department. But that's why you hired them. I guess Wayne's elected, but they're the department heads. They need to start taking responsibility for their employee time cards. It's got to get done. Otherwise, we're going to continue on a monthly basis having time card issues, which is ridiculous to have to deal with. And it shouldn't happen. And so I'll be looking at that over the next month.
I believe back in the day, the road superintendent did their time cards, didn't they? when I worked for the county, I believe,
Yeah,
the road superintendent
I thought so.
went through them,
Yeah,
and then he turned them into the road secretary.
and you screwed up, you didn't get paid.
There you go. Well,
Normally isn't, I mean, that's how the department head should be in charge of that.
the department head should know when my guy has worked and when he hasn't, or when he's been gone for sick leave, or when he's been gone for vacation, and they can still have their employee fill out the time card, but then the department head checks it against their own records, and department head signs off on it, goes to payroll.
Well, they had a book over there that every month was in there on who was employed over there, that if you were gone, it was stated it. If you had a vacation or sick day or whatever, it was in that book.
And I'm not just beating up on the road department or Wayne's office.
No.
It's any office, like if Aurora works for Jetty and for, I guess, for.
Everybody.
Everybody.
So they're her, essentially her bosses or her department heads, and know each of those, and they should be able to confirm when she worked and her hours there and sign off on it and send it to the auditor's office for processing. It should be that simple, and it needs to get there.
So Charlie, you're putting some sort of structure into places that kind of. So it's gonna go down like as of, okay, this is kind of, are we just gonna kind of work with each department to kind of figure out your kind of office is gonna be the hinge pin?
Right, well, are you talking about that specific issue?
Just issues in general.
Yeah, and I sent an email out, I copied all you guys in saying that for now, you know, the commission had appointed me or my office as the interim HR administrator for Steele. And so if you have issues or questions, you're not sure whether to contact the auditor's office or my office, default to my office. And if it is something that should just go to Emily's office, it'll go to Emily's office. And if it's something that needs to go to a different office, I'll just pan it out that way. And there really hasn't been a bunch of stuff going on here, but there are some time card things that I need to look at and more educate myself on for the next meeting. And then by the next meeting, we should have a full outline of what we understand to be what is going to be handled by the HR committee or HR administration and by the auditor's office for you guys to look over and hash out. And then we'll just operate under that previous vote until next meeting.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
I should back up to with Shannon in his office. He kind of reiterated what Russell and Brandon had said, is that his office and his staff is available as a resource for bouncing ideas off of, bouncing actual decisions off of, assistance with writing letters and disciplinary letters, those types of things, not really the day-to-day HR stuff that, you know, frankly, they shouldn't be involved in, and neither should the commission. I think he's gonna be a good, or that company is gonna be a good resource for us. And one of my suggestions, I think, is going to ultimately be we purchase some time from him, just so we have him as an immediate resource.
Are we getting information back then?
I asked him, and he said it depends. The hourly amount depends on the kind of the issue and how many people he has to put towards it. And he gave me a number of like 125 to 200 per hour. And it could vary depending on if he needs two people to jump into it, it must be the 200 per year. And if it's just one person spending a couple hours on it, then it's a lower rate. But I really think we should buy some time from them going forward. So.
We want to set a dollar amount on that, or make a motion to move forward with this?
So there's going to be a strong recommendation, line. If you guys want to act on that today, I can follow up with him and because I think it's going to be. He does work with two other counties. I'm not going to mention which ones they are. It's not that important, but they're somewhat similarly situated counties.
Charlie, did you discuss last meeting that he would come in and talk to all the employees and departments?
did we discuss? I think that the commission brought all that stuff up. I don't think my own position is, I don't think we're quite to that. Point. Either we need it or we're to the point where we actually want to do that right now.
I thought how we left it, we were gonna get prices or something.
And I was gonna get a hold of them, but there was discussion about that.
Yeah.
So, and
He said that is one of the options that he could do if need be.
And I wouldn't rule that out.
It's up to what we're ultimately really dealing with. Where kind of the commission decides to
Focus
on or what, if
Yeah.
that's. It's just like we said, it's like hiring a council.
Well, and the way I see it, dovetailing off what Brandon said is once we can get have a grasp now of all the HR things that were being done in the auditor's office. And we're pulling some of those out of there, some staying, payroll, all that stuff. Once we get that, then we're gonna say, okay, here's what the HR administrator is going to do, whether it's by committee or administrator. Here's what the auditor's office will continue to do. Then might be a good time to meet with department heads saying, look, here's what we're thinking. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on future handling? What are your thoughts on the former handling? And then we'll have something for them that they can put their eyes on and say, yeah, that makes sense, or no, I don't agree with that, or that kind of thing. That's just a thought. So I just don't know if we're ready to have them come in now when we're right in the middle of a discussion ourselves.
Right.
But I'll certainly reach out to them if you guys want to designate a dollar amount so we can get them basically retained. I don't know. I don't think that's a bad idea. It might even be with Emily bringing up this Title VI stuff that I'll try to confirm my thoughts with him or whatever information you have and say, does this seem right to you? It's just, it's not a bad thing to have somebody to be able to confirm one side or the other. So.
Need a motion for this, or do we want to set a dollar amount first in the motion also?
I don't know if we need to do, I'd see us wait a little bit, see what we need to focus on. And then find how many hours we think we need to put to it.
We can do that too, yeah.
Follow up on Brian's comment is that you do basically bank hours, is you bank your time and you just use it at your own discretion.
Yeah.
So you're saying you want to get a better grasp of it.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere, so I mean.
But you would like them to reach out to them.
I can reach out to, I have other resources.
Okay.
That's where things are at.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it as that for now. Moving forward. Okay, we got the clerk of court agreement here from the state of North Dakota. Yep, you want to sign this? Option for the county selected for providing clerk of district court services. Funding amounts.
Is that the same thing you do every year?
Yeah.
I'll make that
Every
motion.
biannual.
Got a motion?
Second.
A second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
What's the money? What's the amount of the fund? Is it on there?
Did you see it,
It's
Emily?
like 0.19 FTE.
That wasn't much, was it?
No. It was approved, you guys agreed to enter into it or continue down that route with the state at your last meeting.
Yeah, I'm just
So
curious, because
it's
they
since-
delineate like a certain number of employee units and fund based on that.
Right,
I'm just curious what the number was.
yeah, like 0.19.
0.17 or something.
But what's the numerical dollar amount associated with that?
Here's the rest of that. Oh, we have approval of the bills.
So moved.
A motion on approval of the bills,
Second.
second by Ted. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Any other business that we need to bring before the commissioners today? If not, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A motion to adjourn, and a second. A second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. The meeting is adjourned at 11:32.
Wow. Well, the way we started out, it turned out pretty good. Yeah, have a good one. Wow, was that a lucky shot? That was